My ex-crush is trying to end my relationship with my girlfriend after all these years. Why is she doing this? I've had a crush on this girl since elementary school. We were close friends and I confessed my feelings to her when we were 13. We got together, but things changed in high school. She was always popular, but she became even more so in high school. She started to act cold and distant with me. She made me feel like I was not that special to her anymore. She probably thought that dating me would ruin her status or something. That's what I felt when I tried to talk to her in private. She would always be aware of her surroundings. And I was not popular. She dated and broke up with 3 popular guys during high school, and I was still not over her. Her third guy in high school left the country because his parents got a job offer abroad. Fast forward to college, in the first year of college, she dated a new guy, broke up with her third one, and I was still single. But my feelings for her started to fade. Since we went to different colleges and not seeing her every day, it helped me to cope with my feelings. I wish it had happened sooner because it really affected me in high school. I was often lost in thought and distracted. I'm not complaining though. I had good friends who hung out with me and were really bros to me. But then, in the second year of college, I realized that I had feelings for this girl who was in my first year class. I never thought of her that way before, but we got to know each other better and better. We started texting, talking, and hanging out. We became official and I was happy. My ex-crush started to be friendly with me again. She tried to get close to me, and I ignored her. She didn't like that, so she told my girlfriend that I had a crush on her since childhood. She also lied and said that I was just dating my girlfriend to get back at her or something. My girlfriend was upset and hurt. She didn't believe me when I told her that it was a long time ago and that I only love her now. The more I tried to explain, the more she pushed me away. I hate what my ex-crush did to me. She sabotaged it. For what on earth was that for? Did she rekindle her love for me after all these years? I don't understand. I never sabotaged her relationship with those guys she dated. I respected her wishes and set the boundaries. How can I fix this? How can I not let my girlfriend break up with me over this? Sounds like she just got jealous that she wasn't getting the attention from this guy anymore, to me at least. Now for a few comments. Send the ex-crush a message explaining in no uncertain terms that you are not now and never will be again interested in her, and her behaviour towards the woman that you love has cemented that you don't even want to be friends with her. Tell her that you and your new girlfriend, with whom you are deliriously happy, will be blocking her and will be ignoring any further attempts at communication. Then show your new girlfriend the message. I'm sorry this happened to you. It sounds like your ex-crush liked having you around as a fallback option. Someone she could always rely on for attention when she wanted it. Somehow, maybe she thought you'd always be there. When she saw you moving on and happy with someone else, she got jealous and tried to sabotage your relationship. What a selfish and narcissistic thing to do. Please block her, tell your current girlfriend what you told us, and show her you blocked the ex-crush. Good luck. I disagree with all the folks who are saying you were her backup plan. That would mean that there was a scenario where she would have dated you. But that isn't your role in her life. Your role is to boost her ego. She would never have dated you, but you've abandoned your role. How dare you stop boosting her ego? She's ticked and going to make you pay for that. Yeah, I think all the comments generally agree with my sentiment. Let's go to the update. I decided to follow the majority of you and block my ex-crush from my life. I also circled the wagons with our mutual friends and told them what she did. Most of them were supportive and understanding. Some of them were surprised and disappointed in her. A few of them tried to defend her and said that she was just confused or jealous. I don't care about her reasons. She crossed a line and she hurt me and my girlfriend. I sent her a final message before blocking her on all social media. I told her that there is no such thing as me and her. I respect our time together as acquaintances when we attended the same K-12, nothing more and nothing less. I told her that I loved my girlfriend and that she should leave us alone. I also told her that she needs to work on herself and stop being so manipulative and selfish. After I sent her the final message, I took a screenshot of it and sent it to my girlfriend. I wanted to show her that I was serious about cutting off my ex-crush and that I had nothing to hide from her. I also sent a message to my girlfriend and apologized for everything. I told her that I love her more than anything and that she is the only one for me. I told her that I blocked my ex-crush and cut off all contact with her. I told her that I understand if she needs time and space to process everything, but I hope that we can work things out. She replied to me and said that she was glad that I blocked my ex-crush. She said that she was hurt by what she did, but she also trusts me and believes me. She said that she loves me too and that she wants to stay with me. She said that she needs some time to heal, but she is willing to talk to me and see me again. I'm so relieved and happy that she didn't break up with me. I love her so much and I don't want to lose her over something stupid like this. I'm going to do everything I can to make her happy and secure in our relationship. Thank you again for your support and advice. You guys are awesome. Honestly, if she didn't trust you enough at that point and was willing to leave you over something that someone else said, then I don't think the relationship would have worked anyway. So yeah, good signs here. Give me your thoughts about this one in the comments and we'll move on to the next story. Okay, we're over on the Am I the A-hole subreddit. This one was written by user Pickled Carrot and it's titled, Am I the A-hole for cancelling my family trip on short notice? I, 32 female, moved away from my home state about 5 years ago. In June of this year, my husband, 33, and I welcomed a new baby boy. He's the first and only grandchild on my side. My husband and I decided to fly back to my home state to spend Christmas with my family. My parents were excited and assured us they would get the house baby ready. My parents live in a 4-bedroom house. The parents have the master and the other 3 rooms belonged to my sisters and me. But now that my folks are empty nesters, the rooms are unused except for the occasional visit. They kept my sister's rooms relatively the same, but they turned my old room into my dad's office. I was a little sad, but it's not my home anymore and I don't get to dictate how other people utilise their house. But in my 11 by 8 foot childhood room, there is now a queen-sized bunk bed, dresser, desk, chair and side table. That alone makes it cramped. But since my dad is very disorganised, there's usually also paperwork on every surface, including top bed bunk, and random crap from the house. It's basically a storage closet with a bed. It's so cluttered that the floor isn't even visible most of the time. 2 weeks ago, I asked if we could not stay in my old room. My parents didn't even entertain it. They said that that's where I've always stayed when I've visited and I've never had an issue with it. I've always taken issue with it, I just never said anything. I explained that there is no room for 2 adults and a pack and play in there, but my mum just said they would make it work. The next day, my mum sent me a picture of the room with a pack and play in it. The bed took up the last bit of floor space. I showed it to my husband and we agreed that would not work for us. I let my parents know that we would figure something else out. But after looking into local hotels, we decided to cancel the trip altogether. My parents live in a very touristy place, and getting a hotel for a week on short notice was more than we could afford. I broke the news to my parents and they were not happy. They said I was overreacting and the room would be fine. I told them we would miss them, but we couldn't afford a hotel, and in order for the room to be usable, the floor would have to be at least a little visible. They asked if that meant we would never be visiting, and I said, I don't know if we'll never visit, but I do know we'll never stay in that room as long as it's in that condition. If it got decluttered or you allowed us to stay in a different room, or if we saved up enough for a hotel, then we could visit. Now my entire family is mad at me. My parents told the extended family we were coming, and now they have to tell them we are not. They're also sad they won't get to see their grandson like they planned. My sisters are also calling me entitled for being picky about a free place to stay and expecting one of them to take the crappy room. Am I the a-hole? I mean, the sisters obviously realise it's the crappy room, otherwise they would just offer, right? I mean, Opie's got a husband and a new kid coming with her. Obviously you need space. Let's check out the comments. Not the a-hole. If your sisters acknowledge that it's a crappy room, then they should understand it's crappier for 3 people rather than 1. You offered 2 easy alternatives, different room or decluttered room, and the response was essentially, no, too bad. I wouldn't stay in that case either, as disappointing as it is to miss out on family gatherings. Not the a-hole. Them not making a sincere effort to declutter your room so it can accommodate 2 adults and an infant, or either of your sisters sucking it up and taking the crappy room, shows that they clearly aren't that excited to see their grandchild and host your small family. It really wasn't a huge ask of you, and I think that you have a right to be hurt they couldn't at least clean up a little or offered up a different room. Not the a-hole. Your needs are different now. If it was just you and your husband, I might lean towards saying it's not ideal, but just suck it up for a few days and deal with the inconvenience. But you've got a baby to consider now, and if the room arrangement is going to cause issues with your son's care, then you have to put him first and decline, as you did. I'm not sure why your parents are so fixed on you using the office and your old bedroom and not another room in the house. Maybe it's worth one more attempt to get them to see sense and make adjustments for your new family setup, perhaps by asking your sisters to make it clear that they don't mind sacrificing the occasional use of their own former bedrooms in the best interest of their young nephew. If your sisters won't do that, or if your parents still won't listen, there may not be much that you can do. Not the a-hole. I come from a family of 6 with 4 kids. My room was technically a garage that the previous owners had converted. Since we've all moved out, my parents renovated and my space is now back to a garage. Given this, if I want to stay at my parents' place, I now sleep in an actual bedroom, my sister's old room. My sister and her boyfriend visited home recently, and I went down to stay at my parents' place while they were there so I could maximize our time together. I ended up claiming her room because it had a desk in it so I could work from home. Guess what? It wasn't a problem at all, and they slept in a different room. If it were the case where I had the biggest original room but one of my sisters had a partner and the child staying over, I would easily switch to the smaller room or even offer to be on a sofa bed because it's not that big a deal. But if I had a baby to handle and obviously needed extra space, then I'd fight for a different room. And yeah, if my family was about to die on the hill that because that was their OG room and they just get it even when situations change and they're being stubborn, then fine, I won't come. Screw flying out of state with a newborn baby to be treated like crap. Okay, Opie answers some comments. Are your sisters staying with your family? Do they have children? Both sisters are single but are very protective over their space. My parents knew they would be upset if their childhood rooms changed too much, so apart from my parents taking down some posters and adding more neutral art, their rooms are pretty much the same. I'm more easygoing and they knew I wouldn't pitch a fit if they turned my room into an office. How old are your sisters? Why are they so territorial over their high school rooms? Sisters are 35 and 26. They both have a tendency to think that I'm the favourite, so changing either of their rooms into an office and leaving mine untouched probably would have started an argument. They're also very particular. They like their spaces to be a certain way and don't like people touching their stuff, so maybe they would have felt like their old room being completely changed would be an invasion of privacy. But I haven't confirmed this with them. I guess I'm psychoanalyzing. Other rooms. All the rooms are vacant, but when we visit, we stay in the rooms we grew up in. There were a couple of times when I visited my parents alone and they let me stay in a different room, but that's only because my dad would wake up early and need his office for work. But my dad will not be working for the rest of the year, and my sisters are visiting for Christmas at the same time, so we are all expected to stay in our older rooms. Can you stay with extended family if they're being weird about this too? Extended family all live about an hour away. We are all gathering at my grandparents' house on Christmas, so that's when the rest of the family would have met them. The rest of the families have full houses. All my cousins either still live at home or are visiting home for the holidays. I'm sure some of my cousins wouldn't mind sharing a room in their home, so I could take one of their rooms, but I don't think it's reasonable to expect someone to host a family of 3 on short notice by relocating one of my cousins in their own home. I also want to point out that I'm not getting any grief from aunts, uncles or cousins. They all understand travelling cross-country with a baby can be difficult. Can you just move stuff when you get there? I mean, we technically could, but I honestly don't want to show up at their house after a full day of travelling with an infant just to rearrange furniture. Personally, I believe that if you really want a baby to come visit your home, then you need to make that home baby-friendly before they arrive. Yeah, I mean, hard to disagree with that sentiment. What would you guys do? Would you suck it up and still stay in the room, or would you just not go? I think I'd err on the side of not going at this point. Let's go to an update. Before I start, I want to say thank you for all the advice from my previous post. I decided to take Reddit's advice and talk to them one more time about this situation. I called my parents and let them know that we love them and we really want to be there for Christmas. Being so far from my family during my entire pregnancy was really difficult, and I'd been looking forward to this trip for a long time. I explained again that I know it's not my room anymore, but if they want us to travel cross-country with an infant to visit, then they need to make at least a small attempt to make the home baby-friendly. Our baby can't crawl yet, so they wouldn't even need to baby-proof. All we asked for was a reasonable space for the baby and us to sleep in. They cut in, saying they have a room for us, but we decided it was not good enough. I asked them if they would feel comfortable with me sending pictures of the room to our extended family as an explanation for our absence. They said no, because it's inappropriate to air out our business. We ended the call by saying all we need is for them to clear out some floor space to make the room more livable. The next day, I got a picture from my mum of the room. They tidied it up. It was still a bit cramped, but it was usable. From the room, they removed an old TV, a swamp cooler, a big stack of paperwork from the floor, a broken printer, a broken clock, a stack of clothes, the desk chair, extra blankets and pillows that don't fit in the linen closet, the broken bunk bed ladder, and a large broken picture frame. All of these things were previously either on the top bed bunk or on the floor. With all this junk removed, it was actually possible to walk into the room. I thanked my mum and told her that since we had not officially cancelled our flight tickets, we would still love to attend Christmas. My parents are not used to being called out, so whenever it does happen, usually by me, they get defensive, but then they later change their attitude and act better. The lack of an apology didn't really bother me since they adjusted their behaviour. They never addressed the room situation, but they cleaned it up and went above and beyond during our visit to make us feel welcome. I guess they just needed some time to think about it. The trip itself was great. The closet and dresser drawers were still crammed with junk, but that didn't matter since we were just living out of our suitcases during our trip. My extended family got to meet my son. There hasn't been a baby in my side of the family for 20 years, so my son got lots of love and attention. He also had the chance to play in the sand and put his toes in the water of the beaches I grew up in. Okay guys, and there you go. Yeah, pretty good ending there. You can only hope that the parents kind of thought about it a bit more, acknowledged the fact that yeah, it is hard travelling with a baby, and they, adjusted their behaviour like Opie said. Lesson learned, no need to bring it up again. I like that. What do you guys think? Let me know down below. Okay, let's move on to another one. Okay, jumping back over to relationship advice. This one was written by a throwaway account, and it's titled, I'll be missing the birth of my child. How can I support my girlfriend during that time? My girlfriend's due date is January 28th, but the doctors are saying that the baby is too big and are recommending that she be induced this Tuesday. I'm currently in another country for work, but I was supposed to be back by the time of the original due date. After talking with my girlfriend on whether she would wait or not, we've decided that she'll be induced on Tuesday. It really sucks, but it's not really in my control. My mum will be in the delivery room with her, and I'll be getting Tuesday, Thursday off, so I can virtually be there. With these circumstances, what's the best way I can be there? Edit to add, guys, I'm not allowed to leave my work at this time. Best believe if I was allowed to, I would have in a heartbeat. I want nothing more than to be there, and it stings that I can't. So please, that's not a valid suggestion. Hope you understand. Yeah, that's tricky. Let's go to the comments. Being on FaceTime is great. Make sure your mum is a genuine support. Send a present, maybe flowers, but also her favourite food. Arrange a cleaner or meal delivery for when she gets home. Have a Coles online delivery and make sure there's some Huggies and some formula in there too. Does she have a favourite cafe that delivers? Get her a voucher. iPantry is a great online food delivery service. Quick turnaround and much nicer than the average. Tell her you love her about 1,000,000 times. Personal experience here. You have it better than back in the 2000s because you have all these technologies. My dad missed my birth too because he was overseas working and we didn't have all this stuff. So you should FaceTime her every day. Ask your mum to stay with her until you come back because it is a big change. My mum once told me it wasn't too difficult being without my father because she had a big entourage around, her family and his family helping. That's the best you can do until you come back. Now when you come back, step up, do your job as a father, and bond with your baby. Being induced is intense. Talk with your mother about the support she'll be giving your girlfriend. Your mother will need to advocate for your partner if she can't do so herself during the worst parts. My partner kept me hydrated and rubbed my lower back, helped me take gas and air as I wanted that for pain management for most of it, things like that. I'm sure your mother knows anyway, but it's good to discuss and might help you feel more involved, as well as shows care to your girlfriend, who is probably really scared of doing this without you. Sound advice. Let's go to the update. He's here. He was born on Wednesday. Everything went well. Her and the baby are great and there were no complications. They're at home now. God was on our side and our connection was stable, which allowed me to be there. The nurses and the doctor treated her well. They were all kind to me as well, given our circumstances. I completely froze just right before she started pushing. It was just me and her in the room. My mum was somewhere in the hospital and I was half asleep. She just kept telling me the baby is coming out. I asked her if she was sure. Never making that mistake again, lol. I think she pushed for about an hour and it was so surreal. It was so much going on and I had to snap back into a reality and just support her the best I could. My mum was great and I can't even thank her enough. I'll be with them really soon. Thank you for the advice. Am I the a-hole for telling my flatmate that I want to move out because her boyfriend is going to live with us for 2 months? My flatmate messaged me the day before she was due to arrive back from holiday to let me know that her boyfriend would be coming back to live with us for 2 months and he would be finding a job while he lived with us. He moved overseas to live and work for a year, and then if things didn't work out in the other country, he would probably move back with her. I was really ticked off. She let me know less than 24 hours that he would be living with us, and she didn't ask either, just let me know what was happening. I said I wasn't okay with it, and I was really clear that this is completely unfair on me and disrespectful. Our house is quite small, and I didn't agree to live with 3 people in a small 2-bedroom house, let alone a couple. She said sorry, but she'll do what she can to make sure I'm not inconvenienced. I let her know if this was happening, he had to pay his share. I wasn't happy and I wouldn't be around much. We used to spend a lot of time together hanging out and watching similar TV shows, and I let her know that I wouldn't do that anymore and instead would just do my own thing in my room or stay out of the house. She said she agreed with me and she would talk with him. When I got home after work, they were both there like nothing was wrong. When her and I finally got to talk on our own, I repeated everything I'd said, and she agreed with everything and let me know it's only for 2 months, hopefully. I asked if he was moving back, because I would move out. I don't want to be living in limbo. She said he wasn't, and she didn't want to change her life when he would leave. I asked if she was sure because he's here for 2 months, and I seemingly got no choice in this, so what if he decides to stay, and then what happens to me? She said she spoke with him and he's really depressed that things didn't work out how he thought in the other country, and she doesn't want to push him or upset him. I let her know I still wasn't happy about this situation, and she agreed, and then nothing happened? I said I wouldn't hang out much. I'm annoyed and I don't want to get so frustrated that I end up saying hurtful things because I feel stuck and unhappy. I thought about it, and even though it's only been a week, I'm still really uncomfortable about it, so I decided to tell her that I want to move out or he needs to find somewhere else to stay for 2 months because I don't want to be uncomfortable in my own house. I feel bad because I know I put her in a crappy situation because she obviously hasn't spoken to him about all of this, or if she has, they're both pretending everything is fine, making my feelings about this seem very dismissed. Also, if he does move back overseas after 2 months, then she's stuck with a lease she probably can't afford on her own. But I also don't want to be living for 2 months in a situation I never agreed to, and then possibly at the end of it having to find a new place anyway. Yeah, pretty disrespectful that she didn't give OP any warning or didn't even ask. Yeah, I'd be pretty mad too, and maybe get the landlord involved. Anyway, let's go to the comments. Not the a-hole. She gave you literally a day's notice this was happening and then didn't ask but rather told you he was staying there for 2 months. Also, depending on your lease agreement, I'm pretty sure you could even get in trouble with your landlord for letting someone not on the lease reside in your home. At this point, moving out might be the best solution for you. Not the a-hole. It is not okay for her to unilaterally decide things like this when you're roommates. What she has done is constructive eviction. She has changed the terms of your rental situation so drastically that it no longer resembles your original agreement. You have not put her in any situation. She has put you in one, and you leaving is a natural consequence of her actions. Do not place any blame on yourself, and do not accept any from her. Not the a-hole. Your roommate made a major decision unilaterally without ever asking you and giving you almost no notice. Something like this, essentially taking on another roommate, is something that any one of the roommates has veto power over. In short, it requires 2 yes votes for it to be acceptable. You shouldn't worry about putting your roommate in a tough position. After all, she didn't give a second thought about putting you into a tough position. After all, she was so worried about upsetting her boyfriend, but not at all about upsetting you. And you have no guarantee that he will find or even look for a job while he's there. Reddit is full of stories of people who have agreed to house people while they were unemployed and got stuck with them months or years later. Amen to that. Let's go to an update. Thanks to everyone who commented on my first post. I'm sorry I didn't reply, but I read all your messages and it was super helpful. So I've ended up being able to organise moving out. I gave her a month's notice and I'm being removed off the lease and moving elsewhere. It's been incredibly uncomfortable, and I think in the end I didn't deal with it well. This was all happening just before Christmas, which is crappy. I spoke with her again and was firm. She let me know that she understood and he would be leaving for a week before coming back for a short time and then leaving again. I thought this would be okay, but he never ended up leaving, and suddenly it was Christmas Eve and she was cooking the three of us a Christmas dinner while I was at work. I felt awful because I was still mad and annoyed that she once again seemed to lie to me, and yet I couldn't be angry that he was still there because it was Christmas and she was cooking a dinner. I didn't want to participate and accept those nice gestures when I felt like it was all fake. My coworker convinced me I had to say something. I felt horrible, but she convinced me, and although I probably ruined my flatmate's Christmas, I think it needed to be said. I let her know that I was sorry, but he never left, and since she didn't stick to what she said, I would now be leaving. She cancelled the dinner and wouldn't speak to me when I got home, and later told me that she asked him to stay because she didn't want to be alone. She was upset that no one considered her feelings and that she was distressed because she couldn't please both of us. She would rather I speak with him directly instead of using her as a middleman. I was confused and asked if I had a guest she had a problem with, would it be her responsibility to kick them out? I've been venting to my best friend about everything that has happened, and in hindsight, that was an awful mistake as she is friends with my flatmate, but she's recently decided she doesn't want to be friends with this person anymore if that is how they treat people, which is all my fault, and I've tried to convince her otherwise, but she won't budge. I didn't want to move out. I enjoyed living with this person, but unfortunately I couldn't let the blatant disregard for the fact that it's also meant to be my house go, and so next week I move out. I do feel bad about how this all went down, but I also feel relieved. Yeah, it's unfortunate for OP. I mean, she didn't really do anything wrong here. I'm not exactly sure what she'd feel bad about. It was a situation completely brought on by the other roommate and her boyfriend. I don't know, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Okay, let's jump to our next story. Okay, we're still on Am I the A-hole? This one was written by a throwaway account, and it's titled, Am I the a-hole for watching intimate photos of my late husband and I? My boyfriend accused me of cheating. My boyfriend, 35, and I, 34 female, have been seriously dating for 3 years and eventually want to settle down and marry. My late husband and I were together since college and had a very loving and passionate relationship until he was torn away from me in a freak accident 8 years ago. I have mostly moved on, but still miss him terribly some days. I do not compare my now boyfriend with him because both have a really special place in my heart. My boyfriend is sensitive to this loss of mine, and I've been in therapy, and he accepts my late husband as one of the greatest loves I've ever experienced. My late husband and I used to always have an intimate night together on New Year's, and last night I was terribly missing him again. He had gifted me a pillowcase he customized for me made of satin, and I lie down with it whenever I want to feel close to him. It's just how I cope. So last night when my boyfriend was watching TV, we came back recently from a vacation so I did not go to any parties, I went to my room, hugged the pillow, and opened my hard drive that had our photos. I'd opened that file after so long, I almost forgot I also had not safe for work stuff in there, which I wanted to relive. I did not want to delete our intimate photos of us in the bathtub, our honeymoon and wedding nights, some naked cuddling, because those are special to me. However, those were not outright sex tapes. My boyfriend called me to help fix something, and I shut my laptop, not realizing what was on it. Edit. I think I have to make it clear I was not getting any sexual enjoyment from those photos and videos, and nor was I jerking off. Those were simply sweet romantic photos with a touch of intimacy. For example, a photo of us cuddling in the sheets. Just invaluable moments of a married couple. It was more of a comfort thing to me than a sex thing, and special to me, and meant only for mine and hubby's eyes. My boyfriend went to get equipment from the storeroom. This was mine and my husband's place originally, and I sensed alarm in his voice. When I rushed in, he was questioning what the heck I was doing browsing through those photos, And why do I see a use in keeping such intimate media with a former partner? I tried to laugh it off. I smiled sheepishly because at first I thought he was going to tease me about it, like if your partner caught you jerking off would. However, when I realized how hurt he was, he simply didn't let me say anything. He genuinely felt hurt and betrayed and accused me of cheating on him and told me that I can sleep with him in his grave. I felt that was crossing the line and wanted to scream my head off, but kept calm. My boyfriend never had such a reaction to me missing him before, and I can see why my actions hurt him, but to accuse me of cheating on him feels super wrong. He told me that he's breaking up with me and warned me not to contact him. He left my place, and I have no idea how to talk to him. Am I the a-hole? How do I get him back? Yeah, it's genuinely tricky. Let's go to the comments. You're the a-hole. I used to be you. My husband was very understanding when we were dating, but I would never dream of looking at naked photos of my dead partner. Thankfully, I'm in a place where I actually got rid of those photos before we even got engaged. While it's not technically cheating, it's beyond inappropriate. You're not ready to move on, and that's okay, but you can't justify this. Yeah, you're the a-hole. You and your late husband used to have an intimate night on New Year's Eve, so instead of spending it with your current boyfriend, you went upstairs and had an intimate night with your late husband. You said yourself you wanted to relive it, so you knew full well not safe for work photos existed on there. Grief is a terrible and hard thing, but this was a very inappropriate thing to do, and the moves you are making, like choosing your late husband over someone physically with you, are not going to sustain your current relationship. So you spent New Year's Eve looking through your intimate pictures taken with your late husband while the man you want to spend your future with was in the other room. Yeah, I think like that first comment said, Opie's not actually ready to move on, and that's fine, but it can't be at the expense of this other guy. Let's go to an update. Hi everyone, I'm here with a very quick, not so great update now. He had left my place last night at around 9 PM after breaking up with me, and I'd posted my bit in the evening a day after that, while I was still processing the breakup. Maybe I was just looking for validation or trying to unhealthily vent here and found it therapeutic no matter what response I got. Now I truly realise how hurt he must have felt. So maybe an hour into posting this, when it was around 7 PM, my boyfriend finally called me back asking to meet. I thought we could have a conversation about it and make up. He, however, didn't intend that. When we met, I asked if we could get back together, offering to remove those files from my laptop and transferring them into a USB drive, all photos, even non-intimate ones, so I don't have easy access to them. He told me he would ideally be in a relationship with someone who only had him in her heart, and he'd rather I get rid of my husband altogether, but it's unfair to me. He said he realized what he wants, and that is number one in someone's heart. He put up with a lot of stuff just because I'm a widow, and doesn't think he would date one again. It really hurt me when he told me that my action has damaged any trust in our relationship, and even if he wanted, he couldn't pretend, and what hurt me the most, he says he has lost feelings for me. He initially had finally decided he would propose to me by the end of the year, but now it's not in his plans. I was incredibly hurt and started bawling, but he wouldn't comfort me. He simply wished me the best and told me he hopes the memories of my husband keep me warm at night, which I found petty and disrespectful AF, but was too stunned to say anything. A lot of people, by my inflammatory reactions at first, thought this was a rage bait, and I don't blame you. I was merely trying to seek a vent and fighting a void in me. To those I've hurt here, I'm sorry. I'll take some more time to heal and aspire to be a better partner to my future boyfriend or husband. Yeah, I think that's ultimately the best outcome. I mean, after 8 years, Opie should be ready to move on, and like the ex said, be able to give someone else the number one spot in her heart. But yeah, complicated situation all around. What do you guys think? Give me your thoughts down below. Anyway, let's move on to another one. Okay, jumping over to relationship advice. This one was written by user MeepMeepB, and it's titled, "My ex's new girlfriend is telling me I'm causing problems in their relationship." So, first off, I feel like this is absolutely insane, and I'm unsure what to do. When I, 30 female, was 16, I met my first real boyfriend, Vince, 31. He was 17 at the time. We were together for a year and then broke up. While me and Vince definitely aren't friends, we are still friendly. The extent of our interaction is yearly happy birthday and happy new year message, along with some small talk on that occasion. We follow each other on Instagram and sometimes like each other's pics. This is it, nothing more. Anyway, when I was at a New Year's Eve party a few days ago, I got a message from Vince saying, "Hey, Happy New Year, I wish you all the best." To which I replied, "Happy 2024, hope it treats you well." Fast forward to this morning, I got a message on Instagram from a girl I don't know, and this is what it said. "Hey OP, I'm not sure you know me, but I'm Vince's girlfriend. We've been together for a while now, and we are very serious about each other. I see that you message him and like his pics. I would appreciate if you stopped that. We are going to get married and these sorts of interactions are not appropriate anymore. I hope you understand that inserting yourself in our relationship causes turmoil and I cannot handle the stress and anxiety of it anymore, so I'm kindly asking you to stop." I was floored. I actually started laughing, but I also got angry. She's misrepresenting things in her message. I checked out her profile. She's 23. I was a bit surprised by the age gap, but whatever floats their boat, I guess. She has plenty of pics of them together, so it's legit. She's his girlfriend. Now, I'm not sure what to do here. I feel like this girl is imagining things. She's claiming me liking some of Vince's pics and wishing him happy birthday is causing turmoil in their relationship. She says I am inserting myself into their relationship. Me and Vince are not close at all. I didn't even know he was in a relationship. I showed this to my fiancé and best friend. My fiancé advised I block them both and don't get involved in this drama, which is definitely something I'm not opposed to. But my best friend told me I should maybe just send a screenshot of this to Vince, because maybe he knows about it so it won't be a surprise to him. But if he doesn't, maybe he'd want to know his girlfriend is reaching out to his ex with some strange demands. So I don't know what to do here. I'm absolutely not going to reply to her, but should I let Vince know she messaged me, or just let it be? Yeah, sounds like this girl's got some, insecurity issues. Let's go to the comments. Definitely do not engage with her. Take a screenshot and send it to Vince. Just keep it neutral, along the lines of, "Hey, just wanted to share with you what so-so sent me. I apologize if any interaction has been misconstrued as my inserting myself into your relationship. Best regards, OP." Then let him handle it. If he blocks you, so be it. If he doesn't block you, so be it. What the F? It's been more than 10 years. What's that girl doing? Why is she worried about an ex of 10 years? Does she have something else to occupy her mind with? She's clearly emotionally immature. She should talk to her boyfriend, not to you. OP replies, 13. It's been 13 years. That's why I was so shocked. At first I thought it must be some kind of joke. I'd block her and send it to him. He's probably going to feel embarrassed, so be prepared for that. Let him decide what to do with the information. If I was Vince, I would want to know if my emotionally insecure girlfriend is sending messages to my female friends behind my back. That kind of behavior is controlling and manipulative and weird. I wouldn't want to marry someone like this. You don't owe Vince anything, but I'd block her and screenshot the message and send it to Vince and let him deal with it. Okay, let's go to an update. Since many have asked me for an update, here it is. So I sat on this for a day or so, considering what I should do. There have been many comments pointing out how strange, insane, and bad it is I stayed in contact with an ex, saying I must still have a thing for him. I honestly resent the implication. I see Vince much like a childhood friend, but some people were dead set on me being stuck on him, which is not necessarily bad, it just made me see lots of people see it this way, so his girlfriend might as well. So I decided to remove myself from the situation completely. I don't want to be a bad guy and a homewrecker in anyone's story. I blocked her on Instagram and blocked Vince as well, and I also blocked Vince on Facebook, and I thought that was it. A week passed and I get another message from this girl, this time on Facebook. I didn't block her there because I didn't even know her full name. This message was more hostile, now accusing me of not removing Vince from my LinkedIn connections as well, and she felt that's how I'm still trying to keep track of him. I almost did never use LinkedIn, and I completely forgot I even had him on there. I've never spoken to anyone on LinkedIn other than a recruiter. I don't know, this made my anxiety go through the roof. I blocked her on Facebook and removed Vince from my LinkedIn connections, and this is it for now. I just want this to be over and I want her to leave me alone. I hope she also doesn't check his MySpace account. Holy moly, that's unhinged. I mean, looking at his LinkedIn connections, like seriously, who does that? My husband feels bombarded and I am so tired. I just need to vent to people that might hear me for once. My husband leaves for work at 7:30 a.m. and gets home at 6 p.m. We have a 14-month-old son who just started daycare. I work from home full-time and am the breadwinner, but my job is very demanding. I walk my son to daycare, 0.3 miles from home, each morning when my husband leaves for work, and I pick him up at 4 p.m. His bedtime is 6 p.m, and he's been so tired from daycare that I've not been able to push him much past that, so that my husband can spend time with him at the end of the day. It sucks, but our son's sleep is the most important. We are all currently sick. Again, just started daycare and we all immediately got a cold. Yesterday, my husband called me at 5 p.m. while I was feeding my son dinner to tell me he was coming home early. It's a 30-minute drive. I said, great, see you soon. Every night, I feed my son dinner at 5 p.m. and then we go upstairs for a bath and bedtime after dinner. My son was especially tired, and at about 5:15, he started getting really fussy. I took him outside to walk around with me a bit while we waited for his dad to get home. Dad gets home at 5:30. We greet him and we're happy to see him. We go inside and I tell them I got them coats and such from Costco today. Whatever. Our son is so exhausted, he bumps his nose on the floor and gets a nosebleed. I pick him up and ask my husband, do you want to give him a bath while I start dinner? His response is, I feel bombarded. I came home early because I do not feel good. I got lightheaded at work today. I said, okay, then I'll give him a bath. Honestly, rather short but direct, our son needs a bath right now, so I'll just do it. He then starts following me, saying he'll give him a bath. But honestly, I don't want my husband caring for my son when he's in a bad mood. He has a very short temper, and our son is 14 months. He tests a lot of boundaries. I undress our son and start drawing the bath. My husband is standing in the doorway and says, I just need to chug water and I'll give him a bath. I say okay. He then apparently went and chugged water. I did not see him leave because I had our son in the bath and I was trying to get his hair washed before his father took over. Our son doesn't like his hair washed, and I didn't want it to result in my husband being short with him after such a long day. He then says, do you want me to go start dinner? I say, sure, that would be great. If you don't mind, that would be really helpful. He says, I came home early to spend time with my son, so I would like to give him a bath. And I say, okay, great, I'll go start dinner then. I then start dinner, he bathes our son and calls for me to take him out, and then he gets into the shower while I dry and dress our son and put him to bed. When we go downstairs, he says, I'm sorry, I didn't like the jacket you got me. I appreciate your thought. And I kind of cut him off and said, I appreciate that, but I'm not upset about that. I'll return it, no big deal. I'm upset you said you felt bombarded when I asked if you wanted to give our son a bath. We then argue because he says this is him expressing his feelings and me blowing up at him about it. Would it kill him to just say, hey, I'm sorry, I just need a minute because I had a really long day, or I would love to give him a bath, but I just need a few minutes to unwind, or anything, aside from telling me I'm bombarding him for asking him one question? And like what, did you think we were going to come home at 5:30 and just relax, knowing it's bath and bedtime? I'm so exhausted, I even apologized for being passive-aggressive. I owned that I was upset and didn't think I could respond to him following me saying, I'll give him a bath, without snapping. And all he wants to do is beat a dead horse. As though 100% of the issue that evening was me not responding after I get told I'm bombarding him for asking literally one question. No, he doesn't know the definition of bombarding clearly. I'm sorry for saying that, but I don't think it's something I should have to apologize for because I was just saying how I felt. Like, that isn't an apology. Might as well say you just don't care about my feelings, which, fun fact, he doesn't at all. I'm tired. I'm so tired. Sheesh, this should be titled Married Life. But yeah, to be honest, sounds like both parties need some work on communication, particularly the husband here. Let's go to the comments. Maybe I missed it. So you drew the bath and got your son undressed, you then washed his hair, your husband then bathed the baby and called you to get him out and into his PJs. I've bathed my kids a million times. I'm not sure what was required of someone bathing the baby beyond washing hair and getting into PJs. It's a little soaping and splooshing off of soap. No wonder you're exhausted with all the help so willingly offered by your dear husband. It concerns me that you don't feel you can trust him with your child when he's in a mood. This either brings up questions about his behaviour or means that you are enabling him and taking extra duties that you don't have to and adding to the load that you clearly don't need any more of. Does he ever show appreciation for what you do? Because it sure doesn't sound like it in this post. Also, how does he react if you mention how tired and busy you are? If he's allowed to have issues and demand breaks and you aren't, it's something worth addressing. It does sound like there's a double standard here, but not one that's weighted in your favour. Honestly, it sounds like this guy wants to pick fights and yet also be the victim, and is trying to make it seem like any expectations of him are unfair. It's possible he wants to avoid therapy because he knows it will make him accountable. Some people have been conveniently misinformed that all they have to do is share their precious feelings, and then they get what they want and everything falls into place for them. Give your husband a clear instruction here. Sharing his feelings is not sufficient. It's not a solution. It's the first step in communication, not the last. He also has to clearly communicate what he plans to do about those feelings, and at this age, that plan has to be respectful of your son's schedule. When it comes to the small child, there are things that you still need to do, regardless of how anyone feels at the moment. So if he says something that suggests he doesn't feel like giving your son a bath at 5:30, of course you are just going to do it, because it still needs doing and it needs doing now. If he feels too overwhelmed to have that conversation, then he doesn't get to be snippy with you. The world doesn't stop spinning while he catches up. However, you also have a way bigger issue here, and it's going to keep cropping up. You don't trust your husband to manage his anger around your small child. That's a really serious issue. I'd strongly recommend you get a marriage counsellor involved in that one sooner rather than later, to help you communicate to your husband what your expectations are when it comes to how he manages his feelings and frustrations with the child. He does need to be worthy of that trust from you, and it's good that he wants to find more time to spend with his son, but that is the missing element. You don't trust him when he's in a mood. Working on that issue would address a lot of stresses and miscommunications that happened here. Yeah, I didn't really think about that at first, but great advice. Let's go to an update. Wow, thank you for all the responses. I didn't think this would get as much traction as it did. A lot of you took the time to formulate really thoughtful responses, and I'm taking those to heart. I've called a couples counsellor and I'm working on getting us into therapy. To address a few things that were repeatedly asked and called out in the comments. I do not believe my husband would ever hurt me or my son. That being said, he can be short. He does say things without thinking that I do think my son will someday very soon hear and potentially internalise. I've spoken to him about this and plan to try and address it more directly in therapy. The example, I usually get up and grab my son when he wakes up, but I was in the shower, so he did this one morning. My son was grumpy and my husband said, "I get it, I shouldn't have even come to get you, I ruined your whole day." That just doesn't sit right with me. I'm overprotective about his emotional negligence because his dad is literally an evil man who emotionally abused my husband his entire life. My husband was a stay-at-home dad until 5 weeks ago. His work pays for daycare and our family's insurance. I pay for the mortgage, groceries, and all bills. The reason I made the breadwinner comment and felt it was relevant is because I'm currently sensitive to a situation. We got into a fight over the weekend because when he was a stay-at-home dad, I expected him to feed our son lunch and also clean up after it. This was when our son took 2 two-hour naps a day. Before daycare started, I had our son home for 5 days over 2 weeks completely by myself while also working. I fed him breakfast, lunch and dinner. He beat me about not having dinner cleaned up when he got home. By the way, I also had dinner cooked for us. I explained I feed him dinner at 5, then bathe and bedtime. He gets home at 6 and I haven't even been back downstairs yet. He said this is a double standard because when he was a stay-at-home dad, I expected him to clean up after his lunch. I told him this is not a double standard because I'm not a stay-at-home parent. I'm a full-time working parent who is juggling taking care of our son while working a demanding work-from-home job. He will die on this hill that this is a double standard. He says that by me saying it is apples and oranges, which it is, that I'm insulting him as a stay-at-home parent and saying it's easy, ? That is not what I'm saying, but I'm literally doing the same thing and more because I worked part-time in the office, was always there for breakfast, only missed dinner 3 times in 8 months because I also have a full-time job. He is refusing to acknowledge this. I explained he should be happy to clean up dinner because it can be a way he contributes towards our son's care for the day, while I'll care for him while he's at work. He is so angry about this he packed a bag and threatened divorce. He has still not apologised. It has put me in a place that I feel very used, unappreciated, disregarded. I can't shake it. I've spoken to a couples counsellor and we'll go to find better ways to communicate because we're both terrible at it. I do not need this man. I love him so much, but I'll be fine without him caring for our son. If he is unwilling to accept any responsibility towards his anger, which he is not, every fight he tells me I'm 100% of the problem and he is none. He tells me couples therapy isn't fair because then he has to go even though he isn't part of the problem. Well, then I'll be divorcing him and hopefully find a way to amicably co-parent. I will not be staying in this relationship long enough for it to emotionally damage my son. Nothing is more important to me than my son's physical and emotional safety. Thank you again to everyone who took the time to share their experiences and advice. I feel much less alone than I did this morning. Okay, on to the final update. Hello everyone. I posted here a few months ago, overwhelmed and exhausted, feeling very alone. I turned to this community, and I'm so glad I did. I really appreciated all the comments, even the ones that attacked me because they helped me put everything into perspective. We got into therapy together, and it really changed everything. We were able to communicate, find closure, focus on gratitude. We found each other again. We are more in love than ever, and I feel so happy and satisfied in my family dynamic. For Christmas, my husband got me a night at a hotel this weekend so I can read my book that just came out. Shout out CC3 peeps. We're showing each other appreciation every day. It really couldn't be more different than that dark day I posted months ago. Anyway, this is just to say thank you to this community. Couples therapy saved my marriage, and I didn't really know this level of comfort and happiness existed for me. Thanks again. Wow, if that's not the best ever referral for couples therapy, I don't know what is. Let's go to some final comments to wrap this one up. One commenter says, "So he stopped being abusive? That's amazing." Opie replies, "He didn't realise that lacking the ability to regulate his emotions was coming off and feeling abusive to me. He's never seen a healthy relationship. He has never felt unconditional love. He opened up in therapy, and we were really able to make progress with abuse he experienced as a child, and how he doesn't ever want to be that dad to our son, or that husband to me. He has gone no contact with his family. Honestly, our son is so close to him again, and I believe that tangible reinforcement really hit him hard. He has apologised so much and made many changes, and so have I. We found a healthy way to communicate and love each other, and it's really changed my perspective on the earlier issue." Another comment says, "I want to be happy for you, but after seeing your original post, I'm skeptical. I'm wondering if you're just in a good period, but he won't immediately resume his abusive behaviour towards you and or your son. I really hope it's true he's changed. For some reason, I have a bad feeling about this." Opie replies, "I think we were just in a bad period. There was so much transition going on in our lives for months, and we didn't stop to just figure out how to communicate." Yeah, interesting final comment there. I don't know, I felt pretty confident reading Opie's final post to there, but I can kind of see how people would be skeptical. But then again, Opie seemed pretty sure about everything, and at the end of the day, she knows her own life better than anyone on the internet will. I don't know, what do you guys think about this one? Give me some thoughts in the comments. Anyway, let's jump to another story. Okay, jumping over to the Am I the A-hole subreddit, this one was written by user Illegally Blonde, and it's titled, "Am I the a-hole for hanging up on my girlfriend after discovering her mum was spying during our personal conversations? I, 18 male, have been dating my girlfriend, 17, for about 7 months. Tonight, her and I had a deep conversation about some relationship hiccups, and I shared my personal family struggles I typically only discuss with my therapist. As we finally got to a place we felt comfortable leaving things, I heard whispering in the background. When I asked my girlfriend about it, she adamantly denied anyone else being there. However, as I continued asking, she started crying. Just then, her mum pretended to come in the room and scold her for being up, to try to cover up the fact she'd been sitting there for an hour. Turns out, her mum had been sneakily listening in on almost every serious conversation or argument we've ever had. I felt absolutely betrayed and hung up immediately. Since then, both my girlfriend and her mum have been apologising and trying to shift blame onto me. This violation of privacy has left me feeling super violated and unsure about how to handle the situation. I do feel bad for hanging up so abruptly, but I just didn't know how to process what was going on. Am I the a-hole for hanging up on my girlfriend after discovering her mum was spying during our personal conversations? Any guidance on navigating this situation would be greatly appreciated. Geez, not the a-hole for me. That would definitely cross a line for me and most people I know as well. Seriously, what sort of parent feels the need to do this sort of thing? It's just insane. Okay, let's see what the comments think. Not the a-hole. You have every right to feel betrayed. If I found out my significant other had a parent eavesdropping during personal sensitive conversations, I'd be devastated. Sounds like your girlfriend might be under her mum's control and not being allowed to live her own life. I sympathise with her, but you shouldn't be expected to pay the price for that sick dynamic. You didn't sign up for secret non-consensual polyamory with her and her mum. Not the a-hole. I would give your girlfriend the chance to explain to you in person, one-on-one, what exactly has been going on, and I would ask exactly what she's been allowing her mum to listen to and why she hasn't told you. I'd reconsider moving forward whether you want a relationship with a person you can't trust. Absolutely not the a-hole, and that behaviour is not normal by a long shot. I would reconsider the whole relationship by this point. Not the a-hole. Run, dude, run. Either your girlfriend is complicit with her mum listening in, or she didn't care about it enough to tell you in person not to talk about private things on the phone. This is a huge betrayal of your trust. Okay, Opie makes an edit. I woke up an hour ago and watched all the comments come in while eating a whole-ass margarita pizza. Thank you all for your advice and opinions. To provide more context, throughout our relationship, my girlfriend has often joked about how her mum can get any information from her. However, I've witnessed firsthand how true this is lately. I've also noticed that my girlfriend doesn't respect privacy, claiming she needs a confidant because my situations are too much for her mentally, but then her mum knows everything I share in confidence. I also have tried not talking to her, but she pushes every time. Because of this, I've become extremely cautious about sharing personal details. They're both very religious, and while I share the same beliefs, it's been a contentious issue in our relationship. Her mum has used religion to justify intruding on my personal life, citing the need to guide me if I'm sinning. My own family life has been challenging. I had to move out at 18 to escape. I talked to my own mother about all of this, and her response was to say that it was not the worst thing, and I was overreacting, which is why I felt like posting. Her mum has expressed that she sees me as part of her family, which has led to her trying to control various aspects of my life, like dictating when I can drink coffee or imposing a bedtime. She's also shared my private struggles with her pastor and best friend, who've tried to intervene and fix me. I deeply care for my partner, but I can't envision a future where her mother's involvement is so intense in our lives. I plan to talk to her about this tonight, and will update you all afterward. Yeah, safe to say that's way too much involvement in a relationship. Opie answers some comments. How did Mum listen in? She sat in the room and my girlfriend had the phone on speaker. I thought nothing of it because she's always just put me on speaker in her room. Now I see why. A foundation in relationships is trust. That's not there anymore, and it's okay to break up. Opie says, thank you. It's tough because there's so much good, but this was just so violating. I keep thinking that what happens in a few months from now, we have to have a really serious conversation and her mum wants to be a part of it. There are a lot of red flags here. I definitely recommend speaking with your therapist. I think this is a great idea. Thank you. I just bumped our appointment up now. Okay, now for the update. 9 hours later. She just called me at work. She started the conversation by saying she thinks we should probably break up because she can't do it anymore. I'll be honest, I snorted. She asked why, and I responded by asking her if it was because she was scared to talk to me face to face, or if it was because she just didn't want to deal with the fact she screwed up and hurt me. She said it was because I say everything is her fault. For context, I know I have a lot of problems because of really hard home life and upbringing, and I acknowledge when I make mistakes. Last night was mostly me having to apologize and explain myself over and over, but this time I flat out told her this was 1000% her and her mum's fault. I then had to go because I'm at work and people needed help. I then got the text saying things like, I guess this is all my fault, and I deserve to sit in my consequences, apparently. She wants me to come to her house after work to sort things out. I think I'm going to see if we can meet alone in a public place to ensure privacy. I'll update after that. And final update, we ended up breaking up a bit after. She apologized in the end, but trust was gone. Yeah, I mean, safe to say for that girl, if she doesn't make drastic changes in regards to her mum's involvement in her relationships, she's going to struggle to find any long-term partners. My husband keeps sneaking out in the middle of the night. Throwaway because my husband knows about my Reddit account. As the title says, my husband keeps sneaking out in the middle of the night. For basically as long as I can remember, I've gotten up at around 4 AM or so to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night. That's just how my body is. And lately when I do so, I won't find my husband in bed. In fact, I can't find him anywhere. He does have pretty bad insomnia, and sometimes on really bad nights I would find him in the living room watching TV or playing a video game. Also, it's not every night, it's maybe every other night that he's sneaking out. I'm trying not to let it bother me, but this has been going on for about a month now, and I'm starting to get really annoyed and worried about where he's going, and what he's doing at such weird hours of the night. It happened again the other night, and I stayed up until he decided to come home at 6 AM. Mind you, I don't know how long he was actually gone, just that he hadn't been there from about 4 AM until then. I admit I was pretty cranky and annoyed when he got home, and I asked him where he'd been. He told me not to worry about it and said, "Let's go back to sleep." I kept pushing and he said he just goes out for a walk. I wasn't satisfied with that answer, but the conversation kept going back to he just takes a walk to burn any extra energy or to clear his head when he can't sleep. So I decided to drop it, as I was pretty tired and had to be up in an hour to go to work anyway. Well, it happened again tonight/this morning. I got up to go to the bathroom and I couldn't find my husband anywhere. Again, I was really annoyed, and I stayed up to see when he would get home. It was 5:35, so that's an improvement at least. When he got home, he looked so sleepy and climbed into bed, and without saying a word, I got out and took my pillow and blanket and came to the couch, where I am now. I know it's petty to give him the silent treatment, but I'm frustrated and I just want to be by myself right now. I can hear him snoring, so I guess his walk worked. I'm not sure what to do now. I'm exhausted and I honestly just want to know the truth. Should I confront him? I'm not big on confrontation, but at the same time, I really want to know what's going on. I mean, come on, OP, you can't know the truth without confronting him about it. Surely you know that much. Let's go to the comments. It's weird that he didn't mention it until you caught him. Everyone who's saying you're out of line for being suspicious probably isn't married, because the first time my or my husband's insomnia was bad enough we left the house on foot in the dark for hours, we would mention something the next morning. Like, wow, crazy right, but it really helped me, so I might keep taking walks. Checking in with your life partner like this isn't controlling, it's for safety. He doesn't need your permission, but if he's outside in the middle of the night, you should know. What if he doesn't come home one morning? You call the cops and report him missing, and all you can say is, I don't know, he says he walks for hours at night, but I have no idea where he went or where he could be. I actually am constantly sharing my location on my phone with my husband, my mum, and my best friend for reasons like this. Your husband can do what he wants without permission, but not without giving you a heads up as a courtesy. I honestly think he's probably doing something shady, and you should trust your gut. It sounds like he's pretty dismissive when you ask where he's been. Let's be real here, going for a walk for 2 hours in the middle of the night is not normal. Does he acknowledge that? Does he validate the trauma you have on top of that? Is he working on things you might do to avoid such strange behaviour? Nothing in this post suggests to me that you're jumping to conclusions, and I think most people would suspect something is wrong here. I think you should insist on a more thorough discussion with him before anything else. Edit, some commenters have pointed out that the midnight walks may not be abnormal for those with insomnia after all. Thanks for the insight. The sentiment that I'm going for is that I think he should work to develop a shared understanding of the situation with his partner. I mean, he told you he's going for a walk. If you don't believe him, check if it's true. But be aware this will probably destroy his trust in you if what he does really is just walking. I don't think anyone would be stupid enough to get up in the middle of the night to go do what? Cheating? And then come back to sleep? That would be quite stupid, wouldn't it? The fact you're not accepting his explanation underlines other problems in your relationship, and he needs to seek help for that insomnia because it will affect his health badly. Opie replies, I do have PTSD and abandonment issues involving an ex leaving in the middle of the night and not coming back for a week, and he actually was cheating. Not necessarily in the middle of the night, but in general. And when he came home, he broke up with me to be with his side chick. I know it's been over 10 years, but I guess I never really got over that. And I agree, he does need to get his insomnia checked. I've been saying that for years. Info. Do you have any reason to believe he might be cheating? Can it be possible that he's walking because he needs to burn off some energy so he can go back to sleep? Opie replies, I know that logically he might just be going on walks, but I have had an ex in the past leave me in the middle of the night and not return for a week and then break up with me, and I'm now realizing that I probably have unresolved issues around this. Other than this, I can't think of any other reason. Why should Opie automatically have to just take his word? Would he do that if the roles were reversed? Even if he's just walking, or walking for 2+ hours seems excessive, I would absolutely have a conversation with him and explain, though you shouldn't have to unless he's just dense, that odd behaviour warrants questioning and he shouldn't be shocked by that. Opie says, and that's basically my issue. Why are the walks so long? Am I crazy for thinking it's weird to take hours-long walks at 4 a.m? I mean, yeah, it is quite strange, but then again, I don't have insomnia, so I don't really know, and I couldn't really comment on, what that would feel like and what you might need to do to get rid of it. Okay, on to an update. Hello all, I wanted to provide you with an update. Apologies for taking so long to update. My life has been a whirlwind for the past 8 months, and I honestly haven't been in the best mental state. Also, trigger warning, this update touches on topics of depression, drug use, and cheating. So about 2 months ago, a police car pulled up to my house and 2 police officers knocked on my door. They told me they were there to do a wellness check on my husband because his girlfriend hadn't heard from him in 3 days and was worried about him. They asked me if I was his sister or what my relationship to him was. I told them I was his wife, and beyond that I can't even remember what I said. I was just in shock. I just remembered them leaving and me closing the door and crying. He was at work at the time, and when he got home he could tell I was upset. I mean, it was obvious, because every time I tried to speak I would just start crying again. Eventually it got to the point that, I guess, he knew he had to come clean, and he told me everything. So yeah, I found out he'd been cheating on me with an ex-co-worker of his. Not only this, but he had been supporting her and her 2 kids, because she couldn't hold down a job, and he didn't want them to end up homeless. The reason she couldn't hold down a job is because she was/is into drugs and would go on week-long benders where she just wouldn't show up to work. And he says that about a year ago she called him out of the blue and cried to him, saying that she was about to lose her apartment because her husband was cheating on her and had basically vanished. Ironic, I know, leaving her with all the bills that had to be paid, and her 2 kids needed food and new stuff for school. He says that at first it was just financially supporting her and her kids, until he started doing the drugs with her, and that's when things escalated. He told me he had cut things off with her 3 days before the police showed up, and that's why they were doing a wellness check. So I asked him if that's where he was going when he was sneaking out. He said yes, for the most part. He also said, to be fair, I really would just go on a walk or drive around sometimes. And I know there are going to be questions about how I didn't notice the money missing. So here's my answer. We have separate bank accounts. He pays for his bills and I pay for mine, and our joint bills come out of my account and he pays me back whatever the total is for those bills. And well, he never stopped paying me for those bills, and household things that were in his name never got shut off, so I never had a reason to think anything was wrong in that area. I've been so emotionally numb for these past 2 months, and he's been begging me for about 2 months to make a decision about our relationship, as in divorce or work things out, because being in limbo is really stressful for him. I honestly just don't want to even put any energy into thinking about the future at all right now. All of my friends and family are telling me to get a divorce, but I don't know, everything has been great up until 8 months ago, and our lives are so intertwined. That feels so stupid to say, but I'm basically paralyzed with numbness. I did, however, make an appointment for couples therapy, so I guess I'll see how that goes. He seems up to it. And I just wanted to extend a thank you to all the people that took the time to read this and the last one. Wow, that's got to be one of the worst ways to find out someone's cheating on you. Like the cops showing up to your door and saying that his girlfriend was worried about him. But yeah, you can't help but feel like this relationship's pretty much over. I don't know if couples therapy is going to be doing much. What do you guys think about this one? Let me know in the comments. Anyway, let's move on to another story. Okay, well, on the relationship subreddit, this one was written by user Purple Phoenix, and it's titled, I am a photographer who does nude and erotic content. My boyfriend is uncomfortable with it. I'm a photographer and a big part of my work is nude and erotic content. Different people may have different ideas about it, but I actually enjoy the work very much, and it's a very good business. I've been with my boyfriend for over a year now, and even though he initially showed no problem with what I do, he has recently told me multiple times that he finds what I do to be a little incorporate, and he doesn't feel comfortable with it. When I ask him what parts of my work he has trouble with, he says that he doesn't feel right when he thinks about the fact that I spend most of my day around nude people or work on their pictures. He hasn't pushed me, but has suggested more than a few times to expand my area of work and focus on more normal photography tasks. Most of my clients are either young couples, usually pregnant, young to middle-aged females, and working girls, to whom I give a discount to, which my boyfriend is not a fan of. It's not like I'm working with hot guys all day. I may get a few single guy clients every couple of months, and they're usually gay escorts. This keeps getting brought up more and more regularly these days, and I try to explain each time why he shouldn't be as worried, or why I can't just stop and be a normal photographer, as he puts it. But things get nowhere, and he goes back to the first step just a couple of days later. Sounds like he's either ultra-conservative and traditionalist, or he's just got mad insecurity issues. I don't know, let's go to the comments. It doesn't matter if you're a porn set fluffer who exclusively works on clown porn. If you didn't want to date someone in that profession, he shouldn't have started dating you. Don't stop doing what you enjoy, or modifying it in any way, unless it's what's best for you, and what you want to do independently. I'm a pro-dom and had a similar situation in my last relationship. He knew from the very beginning, but became uncomfortable with it once we got more serious. I wasted a lot of time trying to make him feel comfortable and helping him sort through his dating dominatrix feels. I tried not to talk about work. It is such a frickin' pain to completely avoid talking about a huge chunk of your life with your partner. Definitely don't try that. And I tried giving him a lot of reassurance, and none of it worked. Here's what I did. Quote, "You've known about my job since we first met. We've been together long enough that you should know by now whether or not you can handle it. If you can't, we need to break up. If you can, that's great, but I'm not going to indulge this conversation anymore." That last bit italicized for importance. Our relationship lasted another 2.5 years, and my job was never an issue again. I made it clear I wasn't going to exert any more emotional labor apologizing for a job I loved, and he had to make a decision. He chose to deal. Your boyfriend may make the same choice, or he'll make a different one and it'll be sad, but at least you won't be dating someone who wants to control your career for his comfort. Do you ever think to yourself, my contribution to society and my world is taking nudie pics, and then smile and pat yourself on the back? 'Cause you should. I'm happy that you're happy with your work. Keep being happy. Stop doing things that make you unhappy. Yeah, some great comments there. Opie adds an edit. I really can't bring him to a shoot as my clients trust me with their privacy. Seeing how it's done might help him, but I really can't do it. Of course, I have normal portraits as well, but anyone who Googles my name will know what I do most. What other people might think is definitely part of his concerns, but I'm not ashamed of what I do, and whoever thinks badly of me because of it isn't really someone I want to be around. I have safe for work portfolios, but I'm known for nude and erotic content for the most part. Bringing him to a shoot might really help. I have a feeling that at least some of your clients would be okay with his presence if you asked them beforehand and told them they're free to ask him at any time. Your single females will likely be uncomfortable, but maybe a couple or escort would be willing. It's worth asking if you get the chance, and don't think it will risk your business. Well, there are a few working girls who I regularly work with that I can probably ask, especially since I'm already giving them a discount. I really don't want to review somewhere online that says, "She insisted that I agree to her boyfriend standing there and watch me nude." That's bad for business and very unprofessional. People walk in with the expectation that their privacy is the highest priority. Yeah, having him in the session might dispel some discomfort that he has with the job, But yeah, like Opie says, that's a mad privacy issue. Okay, let's go to an update. Okay, I have an update. In short, I dumped him, and long. I decided to have a final conversation with him, explain to him that this is my job, and this is what I want to do, and this is what I will do. He knew this very well before we got involved with me, and things will not change. I told him that we won't have this conversation ever again, and if he can't accept this, we both should move on. He told me that he accepts it. Good. A week later, he sarcastically asked me about how my day felt like after spending hours looking at dicks and softies, quoting him. I found it very offensive. Not only that he's disrespecting my profession, I mean there's a million things more to nude art than dicks and softies. He's being very immature. This is something a 14-year-old boy would say, not a 30-year-old man. I let it slide. Later that night, he told me that he's thought hard about the discussion we had last week. I told him that I thought that was done and we weren't going to bring it up again. He said that he was out with some important colleagues and one of them invited him to a party and asked if he's married or what. He said that once he told his colleagues that his girlfriend was a photographer, the colleagues showed interest, asked what type. He had to lie and say that I do personal events because he didn't feel proud of what I did. My response was that he should have told him the truth. He said he couldn't. I told him do it next time. The next day when I was back from work, I saw that he has printed a lot of pictures of genitals, not nudes art, but genitals, and put them on the wall. I asked him what's going on. He told me, "This is your legacy. This is what you'll show our children as your job if we have them." Okay, and that was the end of my patience. I broke up with him, and I'm happy that I did. Wow, yeah, what a child. This guy's acting like a high schooler. Like seriously, man, no one actually cares. I reckon if he told his colleagues what she actually did as a job, they'd probably be impressed and even more interested probably. Yeah, good riddance, I say. What are your thoughts about that one? Let me know. Anyway, let's jump to another story. Okay, jumping over to the Am I the A-hole subreddit, this one was written by user OKBullfrog, and it's titled, Am I the a-hole for demanding my house guest pay me for what she drank? I, 29 female, was asked by a friend, 27 female, that I went to university with if she could stay a few days at my place on her vacation. She came a couple days ago and also brought her sister, 31, which was fine with me. Her sister declined going out for dinner with us and wanted to stay in. That was fine and we left and we went to eat. Well, turns out her sister is a recovering alcoholic and wasn't coping that well being in a different place. We come home a few hours later and I found out she got drunk and raided my liquor cabinet for what she could find. She ended up drinking my very expensive gin, 300 USD, that was given to me by my dad. It's not something I ever would have offered guests. When she woke up the next morning, I told her that she needed to pay me for it. I didn't even open it. She started freaking out, saying it was a mistake and that she couldn't afford the rest of her trip if that's what it really costs. I told her that she technically stole it from me and that she needed to pay me for it. My friend from uni says that her sister is struggling in recovery, but they really can't afford to compensate me without it ruining their trip. I asked them to leave and they were both very upset about it. While I do understand that it was a moment of weakness, I still think she needs to pay me for it. If she broke it by accident, that would be a different story. Am I the a-hole for wanting her to give me the money for it? Yeah, definitely not the a-hole. Maybe Opie could be a bit more graceful and say that maybe you can pay me back after your trip or when you get money again, but obviously you need to have a certain amount of trust built up to, commit to that. Let's go to the comments. Not the a-hole. They're prioritising not ruining their trip over paying back the expensive item I stole from a generous host. Not cool. She needs to suck it up, ruin her trip, and account for her actions. Accountability is a huge part of addiction recovery. Did she take a few glasses or did she drink a whole bottle? The friend's sister is definitely an a-hole in this situation. Addiction is a cruel monster, but it doesn't excuse crappy behaviour. However, the real a-hole here is Opie's friend. Why would she leave a recovering alcoholic on her own like that? Did she not notice the distress her sister was in from being in a new place? Opie's friend would make the worst AA sponsor. She's also a crappy sister. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. I feel badly for you as I suspect the bottle of gin had sentimental value as well. That cannot be replaced. Your guest should have told you in advance that your sister is in recovery, so you could have prepped, i.e. locking your liquor or storing it elsewhere. Furthermore, addiction is a terrible thing, but it isn't an excuse for stealing. If making reparations ruins their vacation, then that is the consequence. And now for a short update to wrap this one up. Thanks everyone for making me not seem like a monster. I requested the money and her sister sent me an e-transfer. We weren't super close, but more met up from time to time. It wasn't a friendship that I'm necessarily devastated over this happening. Okay, there you go, so the sister ended up paying for it. Yeah, I had a feeling that was probably what was going to happen, but yeah, it's good that it did. My girlfriend broke my anime figures and it really hurt me inside. I get that they're kind of weird and stuff, but whenever I was living with my parents, I was going through a really hard time, and collecting that sort of stuff just helped me get through everything. Getting a new package in the mail and seeing it just always made me happy. It's only been a couple of years, so obviously I still have them all, even now that I live on my own. My girlfriend and I got into an argument about moving in together and stuff at my place. Because of the virus and stuff calming down, we talked about it, but we've only been dating since around January. And she's lived with her parents, so I didn't know if it was the best idea in my opinion. I told her we should wait a bit, and she got really upset with me. I just went outside and calmed down for a bit. She came out with me after a while and said that she's leaving to go back home. We said goodbyes and I went back into my room and found two of my figures like this. Opie posts a picture of all his figurines like ripped apart. I mean, I get that they're dumb or whatever, but they were mine. They meant something to me. They were one of the things that made me happy in some hard times, and she went and broke them. The one on the left is missing its entire body. It's supposed to come apart, but her body is missing. I've looked for it a little, but I can't find it at all. I guess she either took it with her or threw it away. The other three parts are the same one, but they're just broken. It's beyond repair at this point, and I can't find the other pieces anyway. It's only about $30-ish on this, but it just hurt because they meant something to me, and now they're broken and gone. I feel heartbroken and horrible now. I haven't texted her yet or had any talk with her so far. I don't know what I should do. I want to ask for the body back on one of them, but I don't know what to say about it. Do I just tell her to give it back? The other one is broken, but I can put the other one back together. Anybody help? I mean, yeah, it's your property. Surely you just ask for it back. And yeah, massive red flag that you have an argument about moving in and she rips apart your stuff. I think you'll be glad that you didn't move in with her. Let's go to the comments. Dude, no matter what you do not move in with her. That she is willing to casually break your property when she is mad is a red flag. I'm sorry she disrespected your figurines though. She's 19, not 9. Even 9-year-olds, my kids, know not to break other people's toys. End it. Move on. You're young. You'll find someone else. This is your first disagreement and she breaks your crap. You should never talk to her again. It's that serious. Can you imagine what she'll do to get her way moving forward? You're going to find better people out there. Don't give up. That's a very heavy sign that things are just not going to work out at all, and it's a good thing it happened before you moved in. You should only talk to her to try and see if she's willing to buy you new ones, but definitely break up. Yeah, my thoughts exactly. On to an update. Original post up there. Basically, me and my now ex-girlfriend got into an argument and she broke my crap. Okay, so the good news is that we broke up and I got the body back to one of my figures. I got the body back and I changed the face on it to match my ex-girlfriend after we broke up. The other one is completely effed though. He posts a picture of a crying face figurine. After reading the comments on my old post, I knew I wasn't going to stay with her. I still wanted my crap back though, so I just called her mum and told her what happened, and she said that she would talk to the ex-girlfriend. I explained on the phone with her mum that this was something I really couldn't accept, and that I would probably be breaking up with her, and at this point I just want my stuff back. She told me later on to drive to their home and wait outside. I did just that, and ex-girlfriend just walked out with a few tears in her eyes. Her mum told her that I was going to break up with her for this, and just handed me the body back to one of them and $20 for the other one she broke. After saying bye, I left and just went home, and texted her explaining that we're over and not to contact me again. She said that she was sorry, but I was way too heartbroken and upset to even consider taking her back. I thanked her mum, and that's the last time I spoke to either of them. She literally acted like a frickin' child. She broke my stuff like a child. I had to go tell her mummy like a child. Her mummy had to make her fix it like a child. Yeah, this whole friggin' thing was just a big childish mess, lol. Thanks to everyone who left comments, except a few of you. WTF is wrong with some of you? I really appreciated most of the comments I got. Big thanks to the person offering to buy me new stuff because they know how it felt to have an ex break stuff. But what the actual F is wrong with some of you? Like, I know collecting figures and stuff isn't considered normal, but no, I'll not throw away my figures. I don't care what you think of my hobby, so you can honestly F off. If my future girlfriend doesn't like it, that's her problem, not mine. Another thing, what the hell did I even do to get called a freaking pedophile? Apparently my figures gave off a pedo vibe, and that must have meant I was a super huge pedo? Yeah, I don't know anymore, lol. After dealing with her and realizing how big of a freaking child she was, I guess you could say it. But no, I'm not a pedo, lol. Yeah man, honestly, not my thing collecting figures like that, but God, people on the internet just get bothered by the darndest things. I mean, God forbid someone have a hobby and enjoy it, right? Oh well, give me your thoughts about that one and we'll move on to the next story. Okay, this next one was written by user Ocean Duciel and it's titled, "A friend's husband almost certainly found her Discord account and she's gone dark." To clear some things up, I'm Canadian, so I know jack crap about the intricacies of the US legal system. Two other friends in our group are American and the other is Malaysian. Our friend, she's stuck in an abusive relationship. She can't leave because that means leaving her kids behind, and she's not sure he wouldn't hurt the kids or not in her absence. He won't let her work, won't let her leave unless it's for grocery shopping, won't let her use his car, won't let her have her own money so she can save up to buy a car. If she's not constantly cleaning or cooking, he'll hurt her, but is obsessed with presenting this affable family man image to others, including his own family. He even prevents her from eating her own food because she, quote, doesn't deserve it for not keeping the place 100% spotless 100% of the time, so she spends most of her time hungry, but sneaks bites when she knows he's distracted. The pandemic made his job a work-from-home position, and he took full advantage of it to keep her under his thumb. He's always watching her, almost always at home so he can prevent her from enjoying herself or force her to do chores. It's always her fault when something bad happens. The only time she can get some time to herself is when he's sleeping, which means she's often sleep deprived. She has no support system, no real-life friends, and her family isn't an option because she's the eldest sibling, and her parents had way too many kids, literally a full house, so she can't count on them for help. While he doesn't hurt the kids, they've witnessed their dad abuse their mum their whole lives. I've asked her repeatedly to call 911, and she said she can't because if her husband ends up in jail, which I doubt considering how abysmal the justice system is at punishing abusers, she won't get alimony and child support. I don't know enough about the American legal system to say if that's true or not. She's afraid if she calls 911, she'll be out of a place to stay with 2 kids, no car, and a job. She's also afraid she wouldn't be able to get a job above minimum wage because of the gap in her resume. I don't blame her for thinking this. I can't physically travel to help her or even offer her a place to stay. The most I've been able to do is donate money that she can stash away from the future. At this point, I only see the abuse stopping if her eldest steps in when he's older and big enough to physically overpower his dad. And that's if he doesn't turn out like his dad. My friend's husband also had an abusive father, and look how that turned out. Today, 2 concerning messages came from her account. I'm sorry, I need to tell you guys that I am not a good person. I have lied because I am addicted to video games and junk, and I am selfish because I've gone behind my husband's back to get all of it. I have lied about husband. I have lied about everything I've ever said. He is not a bad person. He's an amazing person that never deserved to be badly talked about. I didn't deserve anything from any of you, so I'll send any money you've sent me back as soon as I can. I'm going to stay long enough to make sure you all have seen this message and that you know the truth, that I am a terrible liar, and then I'll be deleting my Discord and going to focus on making everything I can up to my husband and his family. I don't want to be contacted. I just want to be left alone to do the right thing for once. I'm only responding to tell you to not speak about husband like that. He didn't do anything. Honestly, I don't even care if you don't believe me because it doesn't even matter. Just leave him out of it. Don't speak about him that way. It's my fault and I won't have anyone talk badly about him any longer. Please tell me what I can do. My other friends in our group chat are also trying to look into what they can do, but we thought making a Reddit post would increase our chances of helping her. If you have any questions, I'll try to answer to the best of my ability. Since people are concerned about me sending her money, I've only sent her $40 total. We've not received a reply from her sister, but she hasn't blocked the friend that messaged her either. One domestic violence organisation said we shouldn't call the cops at all, but I don't think we have a choice not to. CPS has been called. They took our report. Police too. They're going to do a wellness check. We even left a number for them to call back in case anything happens. Update 2, the cops said she's fine and that the kids are okay. Yeah, of course the cops are going to say that. Like, what's she going to say to the cops, especially if her husband's around? This is pretty scary. Let's go to the comments. I would call a domestic violence shelter that's in her area and ask them for recommendations about how to help. The reason I'm suggesting this instead of calling the police for a welfare check is because if the police show up, she'll likely not tell them anything, and then he'll beat her for the police showing up. The DV shelter in her area might have some alternative solutions for you that can help keep her safe, or suggestions for how to help her make an escape plan if and when she is able to find a break in his surveillance. They deal with this all the time. They're the best to know what resources there are. Opie replies, "We did. They said there's not much they can do without a direct way to contact her. They put her name and address on file though." Consider contacting the Child Protective Services equivalent in her area as well. That may put people in her path who can help her. I second having a welfare check done, but who knows what she would feel comfortable saying to police, or if she'd even have a chance to speak to them. With CPS, they should do their best to speak to each family member if your information meets report criteria. Good luck and love to you and your friend. This type of all too common story never fails to break my heart, but there is hope for her and anyone who finds themselves in a similar situation. Opie replies, "Can they still involve themselves if we only have claims of abuse concerning the mother and not the actual kids themselves?" This may be difficult, but can she schedule a doctor's appointment? Many PCP appointments now ask if you feel safe at home. Perhaps this could present an opportunity for her to be alone with someone safe. Opie replies, "No, he monitors all her phone calls, as in he's physically nearby and makes her hang up if she says something he doesn't like." Yeah, next level scary stuff, and the sad thing is, like that comment said, this happens way too often. Okay, let's go to the update. So, after the police were absolutely useless, I remembered my friend told me that her husband made her check and deal with the mail because he felt it was too much of a chore. So initially I was going to mail an anonymous letter with addresses and contact information of various local and national domestic violence organisations, and we also contacted the 911 emergency cell phone bank, and they said they'd make contact with a local organisation in order to get a new phone to her. No idea if that's still a thing in progress right now. Her sister responded to us. She believed us. Apparently they had their own suspicions he was treating her bad, but didn't know the extent of it. We told her we didn't think the cops separated her sister and her husband when doing the welfare check, and my friend's sister definitely thought the same. She's not fond of law enforcement either from the looks of it. So the sister forwarded her mum's contact information. We gave her, the mum, a link to a drive with all the screenshots we took of my friend detailing the abuse so she can look at it any time she wants. Unfortunately, that's when our friend contacted one of us through Discord to yell at one of us, first through a call, then through chat. Her family, apparently, were a bit more communicative as of late, and with the welfare check, her husband was extra suspicious. She basically screamed to leave her alone, said that she has a family that's relying on her, and that she'll sue if we keep contacting her family. Kept insisting that she was a liar, that her husband is a good man who did nothing wrong, and that she was, quote, going to be better for her family. So he definitely threatened her with manipulative bullcrap about homelessness and custody of the kids, and he's definitely the one behind the legal threat. My friend didn't even know what her legal options were when it came to custody and alimony. Why would she suddenly feel confident enough to sue? Anyway, we informed her mum about our friend's outburst, and she said she understood and she would take it from here. She thanked us for going out of our way to contact her family, and that we did the right thing. It's possible our friendship with our maybe ex-friend is irrevocably damaged. I know my two American friends have been really stressed out by this whole thing, don't feel like talking to her anytime soon, and I don't blame them. Personally, I think it was fear for her kids talking with a side of brainwashing. My parting message to her was that if he strangles and chokes her, or has strangled or choked her, she has a 750% chance of him murdering her. Guess he didn't like that because he snapped at me to stop it. There were little giveaways in the way she was typing. That was obviously him. The only way I can see us ever talking again is if she contacts us from a new account after months of being physically away from him. Hopefully her family can get through to her. We've done all we can, and it couldn't have happened without your advice and suggestions. Thank you so much for helping. Okay folks, and that's the end of that one. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but sometimes when you're in this sort of situation that OP's in, after you've done everything you can, you just got to take a step back, and that's what she's doing. It's one of those stories where you leave with your fingers crossed, but you just know that the statistics are against them. Yeah, it's a shame. Give me your thoughts about that one, and we'll move on to another story. Okay, jumping over to Am I the A-hole? This one was written by Throwaway Account, and it's titled, Am I the a-hole for buying a brand new car even though my fiancé said not to, even though we needed it? Throwaway. So me, 28 male, and my fiancé, Ashley, 30 female, have been together for 8 years. I'm the only one who drives as she doesn't have a license, so she relies on me when transportation is an issue, going to work, getting groceries, etc. As for my car, it's a POS. I've had it for 5 years, and I don't know how I managed to make it last this long. It has nearly 250k miles on it. It needs 4 new tyres, new brakes, the engine is worn, and according to the mechanic, the transmission will go any day. So getting a new car was a pretty big priority, at least for me anyway. Ashley didn't see it that way. She did not want me to get a new car at all. She started an argument with me that it would be too expensive, and we won't have any money for our wedding later this year if we buy one. But I have money, I budgeted a lot, and I could afford to buy a brand new car without digging into my savings, and still have plenty left in my checking. Granted, yes, I could have just bought a used car, but I swore to myself to get a brand new one because I don't want high maintenance costs again. Despite showing her the numbers and everything, and even agreeing that we would still have plenty of money, she still refused. I decided that I would get a new car anyway, and bought one, paid in full, earlier this week. She was extremely ticked. Since then, Ashley has been avoiding me and figuring out other, costly, means of transportation on her own. The way I see it, getting a new car was an absolute necessity, but she does not think so. Did I really do something wrong? Should I have bought a used car? Is there something else I'm missing? Yeah, I don't know. I don't think OP's the a-hole here, but there's definitely other issues going on. Also, I feel like she probably doesn't truly understand maintenance costs and things like that, and, the upkeep of owning a car, because she's never owned one before. So that might be why she doesn't fully understand OP's thought process. Let's go to some comments. Not the a-hole, but this is a clear sign that you should not be getting married yet. While you're not an a-hole, your relationship is not healthy, and you need to figure that out. A couple of thoughts. Do you really want to be married to someone who can't pass a driving test? A wedding costs $50 at the courthouse. This is too much drama. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. A reliable vehicle is more important than spending that money on a wedding. This old car was already a money pit. Given her reaction, I would postpone the wedding. She doesn't get to make all the decisions herself. She isn't mature enough to be married to. Yeah, pretty brutal, but hard to disagree. Let's go to the update. Hello everyone, thank you all for commenting on my first post. There is something I would like to address before getting to the update. There are a few lengthy threads about how Ashley must be using weaponized incompetence since she failed her driver's test several times. The written part she has passed, it's the driving section that she fails all the time. You see, she has ADHD and is on the spectrum, so she tenses up a lot when she gets behind the wheel. While her anxiety has gone down in recent years, driving is still a sore spot. Now many of you, including me, believed that this was all just financial abuse and she wanted control of my money. Well, we were all wrong. Yesterday I went out to take care of a few errands, and when I came back, Ashley came to me with tears. It had looked like she'd been crying for a long time. She apologized for getting angry at me and for avoiding me. She said she knew my old car was on its last legs and knew a new one was necessary. She also understood that there would be plenty of money left. Ashley admitted that she wasn't mad about the money. It was actually the memories of my old car. She only mentioned the wedding because she didn't want to sound pathetic and seemed to be the most obvious choice. You see, last year we had a 14-year-old German Shepherd that we sadly had to put down after she got cancer. Ashley had her ever since she was a pup and loved her very much, and so did I. Ashley was an absolute mess after that. We never took down her crate and had placed her old blankets, pillows, as well as her leash and collar in it. What does this have to do with my car? Well, I still had her old blanket in my old car whenever we took her out. Some of her fur was also still in the back seat, as I almost never vacuumed the back. Ashley was afraid of forgetting her, and that's why she wanted me to keep the car. I assured Ashley that I loved her, and I loved our dog. If it meant anything, I took the blanket out of the car, which she asked me to place in the crate. I donated my old car, but the tow truck won't be there to pick it up until tomorrow, so she asked to see the old car one last time. So we drove to the lot, and she had a tearful goodbye over it. I took her out to eat after that to get her mind away from it. So there you have it, everyone. This was never about money. Oh wow, there you go, guys. Yeah, I wasn't expecting that, but honestly, a welcome surprise. I'm sure we can all relate to that feeling of old memories in some way or another. Girlfriend pulled an insane prank on me, and I'm beyond ticked. It happened yesterday. I was expecting my new MacBook Pro, which I saved a lot for in the past few months, to arrive. It was nearly $6,000. I was given a delivery window, and of course it was delivered during the window, at a time that I was in the bathroom and didn't notice. My girlfriend collected the package and hid it, so I was left wondering where the package is. When the delivery window passed, I called the delivery company, and they just said that the window was a guideline and asked me to call back in an hour, which I did. And after 10 minutes of being on the phone, they finally told me that they've called the driver and it's already delivered. I told them that it's not delivered, and the driver is either mistaken or lying, which basically started an argument for maybe 5 minutes where I asked to talk to a supervisor. To make it short, I was on the phone with them for 4 hours telling them that they have either delivered it to the wrong address or that their driver is trying to steal the package. During this time, my girlfriend looked worried and she even started searching online for misdelivered parcels and even posted on Facebook that this has happened. At the end of the day, I was told by the company that they'll give me a call the next day to update. I also called Apple and made them look into the situation, and they said that they will investigate. So, at almost 7 p.m, after being ticked off for more than 6 hours, she brought the package and said that it was all a prank. I was beyond ticked, and before I could say anything, she just said goodbye and left. I'm still beyond ticked. I love her and she's always been very nice, but this whole thing was just effed up. Do some people just get kicks out of being genuinely unkind to other people and then just slap "it's a prank" on at the end to justify their behaviour? God, this would make me mad as well. Let's look at some comments. She handed you the package and just said goodbye and left? It doesn't even seem like she got anything positive out of this, including enjoyment, so I can't understand why she would choose to do this. I personally despise pranks, so seeing you go through that willingly is pretty effed up. I'm sorry this happened to you. Opie replies, she started laughing, but when she saw how ticked I was, I guess she just decided to call it a day, maybe to avoid an argument. I wonder if she even thought about the delivery person possibly losing their job because of this, being suspected of stealing a $6,000 item, which is a felony, thereby possibly initiating a police investigation. Yeah, I'd have a serious talk with her about actions and consequences. Opie replies, I already have. I've never been this embarrassed in my life. Yeah, I don't know, she better have a pretty good excuse. Let's go to the update. So she apologized to me and explained why she did it. Apparently she and her sister had a bet to pull the most insane prank on their boyfriends. Her sister put salt in her boyfriend's beers, and my girlfriend did what she did, so I guess we know who won. She realized how stupid this was. I also called the delivery company and apologized for everything. I told them that my friends had pranked me without any considerations. They were not happy about it, and they told me they'd suspended the driver until the issue was resolved, so I guess it costed the poor driver a payday. I'm going to let it pass. It's over now. My God, no consequences for the girlfriend. That makes me angry. Let's read a couple more comments. Are you freaking kidding me? Your girlfriend should have called the delivery company and apologized, and she should pay the driver his payday. Opie says, I honestly called and apologized the next morning out of concern for the driver. She offered to do it, but I'd done it already. An innocent delivery driver who had done nothing wrong is suffering from all of this, and you're gonna let it pass? Opie says, what else can I do? The delivery company didn't accept a reimbursement offer. Maybe tell her to find the exact driver, and apologize for her rudeness, for the trouble she put you and the other guy through. Don't they leave who left the package? Opie said, I tried getting details of the driver. The company didn't do it and wanted to, quote, be done with us. That driver is sitting at home with his wife and kids, trying to figure out how they're going to pay their bills for the next month if he gets fired, worrying about being evicted, wondering how they're going to tell their daughter that they can't afford ballet this month because daddy might get fired for something he didn't do. I wonder how much he laughed at her prank. Her behaviour shows a level of selfishness and inability to think about the consequences of her actions that makes me worry about her as a long-term partner. Opie says, she said she had not at all considered the consequences for the driver, otherwise she wouldn't have done it. She's 28 years old and she couldn't think forward enough to not hurt people? I would seriously reevaluate your relationship and keep an eye on things if she can't develop more empathy and thoughtfulness for others. If she can't, it'll bite you in the ass again, probably at the worst possible time. And Opie says, she's generally very compassionate. This was a moment of stupidity. Okay folks, what do you think about that one? Would you be willing to let it slide like Opie does? Or would you kind of kick up a bit more fuss? Honestly, I'd be pretty mad about this for a while if it were me. But yeah, let me know. Anyway, let's jump to another story. Okay, jumping over to the Am I the A-hole subreddit, this one was written by user Negative Newt, and it's titled, Am I the A-hole for revealing my brother's body count to his fiancée? I, 30 female, was out having a girls' night with my little brother's, 28 male, fiancée, 24 female. They recently got engaged after dating for about a year. I enjoy hanging out with my soon-to-be sister-in-law, and this was one of the only times I've hung out with her without my brother in tow. So we were having a ball, and most of us were a bit tipsy, and she started asking me about my marriage and some more intimate questions, like how does it feel to be with one person for the rest of your life, and all that jazz. Following this conversation, someone in the group asked everyone how many folks each gal has slept with. I honestly wasn't comfortable with the conversation, but my soon-to-be sister-in-law sort of took hold of the topic and mentioned that her and my brother don't concern themselves with each other's past. Her words were, the past stays in the past, and if he slept with 20 women, what does it matter to her? I agree with her, but this is where I probably messed up. My little brother was somewhat adventurous in his late teens, early 20s. He was a college athlete and in a frat. As we went to the same college and had a lot of mutual friends, this is information that was made aware to me without my wanting, to be honest. So I know the ballpark of his body count, and it's well over 50 women, probably closer to 100. And my brother confirmed this to me when I asked him if he was being safe with his decisions at that time. Example, going to the doctor to get tested and such. She followed up her comment with something like, and even if it was a huge number like 35 people or so, I wouldn't care. Her saying that prompted me to ask, what if it was 50 women? She got a sort of strange look on her face and mouthed the word 50, but I played it off like I didn't know what I was talking about and was more so curious about what her cutoff range for a lot is. Fast forward a few days and I meet them both for lunch and she sort of seems sullen and my brother is being short with me. When she goes to the bathroom, I ask my brother what's up, and he basically blames me for having revealed his past sexual history to his fiancée, and now she is acting strange towards him. I explained that it was a slip of the tongue, and I didn't confirm any number, but now he is ticked, and a couple of our mutual friends have let me know I effed up. Am I the a-hole? Yeah, definitely not OP's business to go displaying that information. Let's look at some comments. You're the a-hole. You weren't comfortable letting anyone know your body count, but had no problem revealing your brother's. Hopefully none of your friends tell you important secrets. You're the a-hole. Yep, that was crappy. Time to learn from your mistakes. You're the a-hole. She literally just got done saying how she didn't want to know, and that she's never even asked, and you jump in and told her anyways. Not to mention you inserted yourself into a situation that was personal and had nothing to do with you. You're the a-hole, but I think you wanted her to know once she said such a low number compared to the truth. I think you believe your brother was reckless and using women, so she needed to know his past. Personally, I bet he was reckless and using women, but I have to assume it was consensual. He was given the opportunity to have a ton of sex and he took it, but I think only he should be the one discussing numbers with maybe not future sister-in-law. Once you put that number in the air, it was over. She is now obviously hurt to hear it. She may have believed it was high, but not knowing was easier. This is a very tough situation now, and their relationship may never recover. Or maybe it will, but it's going to take time. You forced them to have a conversation they agreed to avoid, so be prepared to lose your brother for a while, or possibly forever. I'm betting you meant no harm or malice, but now you have to live with the repercussions. Good luck repairing your relationship, and I hope they're able to move forward with theirs. Opie replies, "Yeah, I can accept that I was totally the a-hole in this situation, but really I did not mean to be the a-hole. For what it's worth, my brother and soon-to-be sister-in-law are fine now. She actually did text me, sort of thanking me for alluding to it. In the end, it hasn't changed anything between them. My brother and I are all right. It really was just that one lunch that he was like, 'What the F, dude?' In the end, he knows it was not out of malice towards him." Info: what was the best possible outcome for this, in your head? Opie says, "There just wasn't enough thought in terms of best possible outcome. I was just taken by surprise that her high theoretical number was so much less than his actual number." Okay, Opie kind of spoils it in those comments there, but let's go to an update. Yol, I showed my brother the post after apologizing for my mistake, and mostly he laughed but was baffled at the hostile replies. My brother and future sister-in-law are fine. My future sister-in-law actually approached me privately and let me know that she was happy to have the conversation now with my brother versus later. She did say it was a shock when he told her his sexual history, but at that point I excused myself out of the conversation and let her know I would not be having any discussions about my brother's sexual history from here on out. My brother is not plotting his revenge like commenters and messages implied. He understands that although this was not in my court to say, he probably shouldn't have waved it off at the early stages of their relationship like he had done. Yes, brother-in-law and future sister-in-law are still together. To the internet psychologist who diagnosed me with psychopathy and narcissism, you should consider touching grass. For what it's worth, I also got a lot of messages telling me that they wished sexual history was discussed in greater detail with their partners prior to marriage. Take that as you will. I also got messages that were pretty explicit and in the opposite direction. For those who try to imply my brother and I have an incestuous relationship, please close the porn tabs and wipe the Cheeto dust off your fingers. Something I didn't mention was that I was a college athlete myself, and word travels fast in those groups. I'm close enough with my brother to ask if he was being safe with his choices, and that's how I came to know his sexual past. Okay folks, and that's the end of that one. Seems as though Opie got a little defensive there in the update, but honestly I don't blame her. The internet's a pretty hostile place. Anyway, give me your thoughts about this one down below, and we'll jump to another story. Okay, we're chilling on the same subreddit. This one was written by user SameBase, and it's titled, "Am I the a-hole for changing the walk-down song at a wedding?" I, 23 male, love to sing. I'm not American Idol good, but I'm considered a ringer at karaoke night by my friends. I was a groomsman for my best friend, Travis, 23, wedding to Taylor, 23. Taylor has been the exact opposite of a bridezilla. The only non-negotiable thing she had was that she did not want a track playing when she walked down the aisle and wanted a live band. A reasonable request. They had Enchanted by Taylor Swift as their walk-down song, as it was the song he proposed to her during one of our karaoke nights. Well, day of the wedding comes, and the lead singer of the band ends up passing out during rehearsal. She had to leave to go to the hospital. As Travis couldn't see her, I had to go inform Taylor through a bridesmaid. Bridesmaid comes back and states that while Taylor was empathetic and she understood, she was still adamant about no tracks. She asked if I was willing to sing in place, but I told her that my voice wouldn't fit the song she wanted. Bridesmaids asked me to do whatever I needed to do and try to make something work. I spoke with the band and I asked if they were able to learn True by Ryan Cabrera, a relatively simple song with an hour's notice, and a song I know my voice can handle. They were willing to, and after a quick readjustment rehearsal with those actually walking down the aisle, minus Taylor, wedding happened. I performed the song, and although somewhat confused, Taylor seemed very happy. I then take place in my position as a groomsman. At the photos portion, Taylor came up to me and jumped me with a hug, thanking me for stepping in. She asked why I changed the song, but after a brief explanation of how my voice wouldn't have worked, she understood and said she was happy I chose that song. Travis, on the other hand, was not very talkative to me. After the reception and following days, he ghosted me. After finally having enough, I went over to his place to talk this out. This is where all went loose. He was very upset with me for changing the song, knowing it was Taylor's favourite song and I couldn't have sucked it up for literally 5 minutes. I defended by stating the following. 1. I was following Taylor's one request for no track music. 2. My voice would have made any of the video footage taken ruined because the song didn't fit my voice. And 3. I chose another song that I know he and Taylor loved and that I could actually sing. He basically removed all that by stating that I should have done what was requested in the first place. As soon as I mentioned how Taylor didn't mind, he kicked me out. Several people are divided. Our friend group, aka the groomsmen, are taking Travis's side and stating how I'm the jerk. The bridesmaids, Taylor's friends, are defending me for choosing a song that I could sing and was still wedding appropriate. Taylor has remained silent about this as she is Travis's wife, but know I did what I could. I genuinely don't know what to make of everything. Am I the a-hole? I mean, Taylor said she's okay with it, but I feel like because she's holding back and not getting involved in the argument that she's probably still secretly a little bit upset about it. But Opie's still not the a-hole, 100%. Let's go to the comments. Not the a-hole at all. You did the best you could given the time constraints. You were thoughtful and considerate in choosing a song that they both felt connected to. You weren't the paid singer. You had stepped in and kindly saved the song for your friends. It isn't your fault that the groom is being ungrateful. Not the a-hole. You stepped in and certainly are not the anti-hero here. Taylor felt no bad blood from what you did with Style, and while it wasn't the song Enchanted, I know in my wildest dreams I wouldn't have expected the singer to faint. If you hadn't stepped up there, it would have been a blank space in the band, and call it what you want, but Travis should be basking in the afterglow and not having all this bad blood. Bro needs to shake it off. I must admit, I didn't realize that comment was full of puns until about the 3rd sentence in, and now I feel stupid. Another commenter asks, why were you responsible for the band, and why was it up to you to figure something out? I did say I was willing to fill in, but I couldn't get the song down. That's when I was given the go-ahead to fill in. I went to the other member of the band, the guitarist, and asked if he was willing to learn the song. He was. Another comment asks Soapy if it was the key that was the issue or the style, and whether or not the band could have changed the key for him to sing it. Thank you for your question. It's the key and style. Another comment here said it best. Enchanted is a mezzo-soprano range. I'm a tenor, so really any Ryan Cabrera song would work better. Luckily, Ryan Cabrera has 2 songs that go great for weddings, True and On the Way Down. Okie dokie, let's go to an update. Wow, I did not expect this to blow up. First off, so many things have happened since this post, so I want to cover all bases. First off, thank you everyone for your support and help for making me realise that I'm not the a-hole. Many of you have great points of knowing music and what songs are appropriate for vocal ranges. I did theatre from 14 till 22 and had taken vocal lessons. I even had a band in high school that was just for fun. Secondly, many of you may be wondering if I cut Travis off in the wake of this, and the short answer, no. Yes, he was a major Richard to me, and said many harsh words, but we went through the runt of it in life when it really counted. I know many people cut off friends when it's clear they don't want you, but I'm more of a just let me know when you're free to talk person, not to everyone, but the people I love. I went to Travis's place with Taylor as a mediator to finally attempt to squash this feud. It was lengthy, but what sold the deal was this statement. Travis, I've known you since kindergarten. We've been through some stuff no other duo has, and you know that I love Taylor as my own sister. Do you really expect yourself to believe that I would ruin your guys' special day over this? That really made him wake up. He apologised. Apparently, and I genuinely didn't know this was his, Taylor's and her sister's favourite song. When she died from a stroke, Taylor was devastated. Travis made the song a new memory with the proposal and the expected walk dance song and was planning a surprise honour for Taylor's sister at the ceremony. When that didn't happen, Travis went into a deep anger when his plan didn't go through. I'll admit I had told him that I was filling in for the singer. I didn't tell him that I was changing the song until the quick rehearsal before letting people in. He realised that I truly didn't know this and apologised. We're good now. Third and final update. I've been asked to consider singing for weddings, and I'm going to be. However, like I said, I'm not a professional singer, so I'm only doing it for close family and friends' weddings. I got asked to do one for my other friends for this summer. Thank you all. Now for some final comments. Well, I hope he learns from this and gets better on communication, especially in his marriage. Oh, trust me, he learned, and is on a very short leash with everyone. Did you apologise? No, I didn't apologise for anything. I went and fully explained the situation and made him realise. And no, his wife didn't originally let him kick me out. She wasn't there when I went the first time. Is there a reason she didn't explain it to him, her own husband? It still seems crappy that you had to go to him and he didn't come to you. I see your point. Yes, he should have come to me. However, when I showed, he wasn't angry or anything. It seemed the wife did knock some sense into him. We couldn't meet sooner because they went on a small trip after the wedding. He seemed to cool off and we had a very good conversation, and that's when he said he was sorry. He didn't know how to approach it. Okay folks, and that's the end of that one. Sounds like everything got resolved in the end there, and it looks like Opie's picked up some gigs as a wedding singer. Good for him. Am I the a-hole for being upset at my significant other for being friendly with my high school bully? Me, 26 male, and my girlfriend, 26, met in high school. We became really good friends. She was basically my only friend in school, and decided to go to the same university so we wouldn't drift apart. When we were in university, I finally asked her out, and we started dating since. To sum up my time in high school, it was an awful time. I was very lonely, introverted, and quiet both in high and middle schools, so I was prone to getting bullied. I was mostly heavily bullied by this guy, let's call him Lewis, and his group of friends. He would poke fun at my eye condition, intentionally embarrass and make me uncomfortable in front of everyone, call me all kinds of names, and just made my life in school hell. This was majorly traumatizing because school was supposed to be a safe place for me, because I was getting emotionally abused by my crappy family at home, but he ruined any chances of it being a safe place by making my everyday horrible. My girlfriend was aware of the bullying situation at the time, and when we became closer friends, she always comforted me about it and sympathized with me when I vented about it. She agreed that they were cruel for no reason, and I didn't deserve it at all. She told me she hated them for hurting me like that. Fast forward to now, and what the problem actually is. We were out together walking the dog, and I told her I'd jog to a nearby store real quick, pick up some cigarettes, and come back while she stayed at the park. When I was walking back, I noticed her talking to someone from a distance. She seemed to be all cheerful and laughing. They talked for a bit, and he walked away in the opposite direction. So I came up to her and asked her what's up. She nonchalantly smiles and tells me it was Lewis from high school. My heart sank, not gonna lie. I awkwardly chuckled, said, "Whoa, you were seriously that happy to talk to that guy?" She says, "Sure." I told her, "You do remember he was the person that basically made my life a living hell in high school, right?" She told me, "Yeah, I remember, but I'm sure he's changed, and he seemed really sweet. Come on, don't be like that." I got pretty mad at that point, and didn't say anything. She notices the awkward silence and says, "Oh dude, come on, do you seriously still have a grudge against him? I thought you would get over it by now." Holy crap, that felt like a knife through my stomach. It's not that frickin' easy to get over years of trauma that sabotaged my self-esteem and confidence. It was so hurtful to hear that coming from her, especially because she was my rock during the times I was getting abused by everyone at school and home. I don't still hate the guy and his friends after all this time has passed or want them to suffer or whatever, but it's not easy at all to forget what they did to me. Sure, maybe they changed for the better, but seeing her talk to him so cheerfully and telling me about it made me die inside. Am I the a-hole for this? Yeah, I don't know. It's one thing being friendly with someone like that from your past, but it's another thing to be really cheerful and seemingly happy to see them. Yeah, that's a little bit weird. Let's go to the comments. Not the a-hole. No matter what everyone is saying in the comments section, you are not the a-hole. It's normal for you to be taken aback, having to witness your girlfriend being friendly with your abuser. In fact, you weren't even being rude about it to your girlfriend. You merely asked and then stayed quiet when she responded. While I understand that it's not like she could have cussed him out that day, she was just being polite. She literally invalidated your feelings. You don't tell a victim of abuse to get over their abuse, or even presumed that they should have gotten over their abuse. You're not overreacting. She's the a-hole. I'm sorry. Edit. Let me just add by saying that my sister was relentlessly bullied in primary school. Even though it happened a long time ago when she still hadn't hit puberty, the effects from those several years of being bullied still impact her to this day. If I were in your girlfriend's situation, I'd probably be polite, but not to the extent that I would exchange socials with them like she did, and I most definitely won't get defensive like your girlfriend did. Edit 2. I've said this somewhere in the comment section, but I'll add it here anyway. I don't know OP's girlfriend personally, so I'm not sitting here saying that she's a horrible person. It's just that in this specific instance, in my opinion, she was the a-hole. I genuinely hope that OP and his girlfriend are able to sit down and have a conversation about this, and I wish OP well because I know healing from trauma is not easy, no matter how many years have passed. Edit 3. Hopefully this is the last edit I'll ever make, but we all process trauma differently. Healing from trauma is not a one-size-fits-all. None of us get to decide how one heals from theirs. Thank you. OP replies, "Thank you so much for this comment. This really made me feel understood and heard. The effects do stick with you for a lifetime. I know for sure everything I went through had an impact on who I am right now, and changed me a ton. I'm very sorry about your sister going through what I did. Kids can be ruthless as hell, but no one deserves to be a victim of it." Not the a-hole, OP. Your bully may be changing does nothing to alter the past that you went through. I would also be angry at my significant other for downplaying my pain and hurt. Are you currently in therapy? It might be a good idea for you. OP replies, "I've tried therapy before for 2 years straight, but I quit because I felt like I wasn't making any progress. I wasn't really getting anywhere with it. I also feel like a bit of a burden during our sessions, and that also pushed me away from it. Maybe my therapist wasn't really a good fit for me, or maybe I just wasn't cut out for therapy." Okay, on to an update. My other post in this sub got a lot of comments. I wasn't expecting it to receive much attention, but I appreciate everyone commenting and giving me advice. A lot of the comments made me feel very understood and valid. I thought I should post a follow-up since tons of people saw the other post and are probably curious what happened. Basically, everything was kind of tense between us after we went home yesterday. When I woke up next morning, my girlfriend told me we needed to talk, and I agreed. I was going to ask her first, but she beat me to it. She asked me if I was still upset about yesterday, so I told her that I was, and explained that hearing that he's a sweet guy from her was really painful, especially when she knew about the stuff he did to me. I told her that being friendly like that towards people who tormented me wasn't something I accept, and obviously explained that her get over it comment was out of pocket and unnecessary. I told her how him becoming a better person was kind of irrelevant to me, because no matter how much he changed, the consequences of his actions will still stick with me. She listened to me explaining, and she started crying in the middle of it and said she was incredibly sorry and that she didn't think too much of it at the moment and failed to consider my feelings. She said after I explained it from my point of view, she realized she was being an a-hole, and it was a stupid assumption that the trauma would go away over time and I would forget about it. We understood where each of us were coming from, and I forgive her. She was very genuine about it. I know she's not a malicious person and wouldn't want to intentionally hurt me, even if it did hurt. There was a bunch of people telling me to break up with her in the comments, and I see why to some other people this would be a complete deal breaker. But in my opinion, relationships obviously come with their ups and downs, misunderstandings, and conflicts like this one, so I want to forgive her for this and move on, especially when she realized what she did was wrong and apologized. If she hadn't, it would be a completely different thing. She told me she doesn't want to keep contact with him after this and doesn't care about him at all. Even told me she wants to block him on the socials they exchanged, and I said that was up to her. So far, everything seems to be okay, and I feel like this helped our relationship in terms of setting boundaries and respecting them, and I'm glad we were able to talk it out. I want to thank everyone under the post that commented and gave some good advice, sent awards, PM'd me to support, and those that PM'd me to say not so nice things, they were too scared to comment publicly. You guys are all awesome. Thank you. Okay guys, and that's the end of that story. Yeah, pretty good ending there. Good to see that the girlfriend could kind of see where she went wrong. And also, like Opie said, yeah, relationships do come with their ups and downs and misunderstandings, and it's good to communicate your way through them, like these guys did. What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments. Okay, let's go to another story. Okay, this one's also from the Am I the A-hole subreddit. It was written by user Forsaken Young Adult, and it's titled, Am I the a-hole for not inviting the person who assaulted me to my wedding? I, 23 male, was sexually assaulted by an aunt for years. It lasted until I was 6 through 14 and finally had the courage to fight back. I told my mum about it when I reached my senior year in high school and she seemed supportive at the time. Skip to years later where I currently am now, and I'm getting married to CJ, 22 female, after 5 years of being together. My wedding is in June of this year, and I invited all my close family and friends. Last week my mum asked me if I could possibly invite my Aunt Kay, the one who SA'd me, to my wedding. I of course told her no, and asked why would she even suggest that. She then told me that she and Aunt Kay have been speaking for the past 6 months, and Aunt Kay tried to apologise to my mum about the incident, and even tried to justify it by saying, I was just teaching the boy for when he gets a wife, and my mum agrees with her. I flipped out on her and said some things, but my mum said some things that were even worse. She's now threatening me that she won't come to my wedding unless I invite Aunt Kay, and her side of the family is taking her side as well. Currently my brother, dad and fiancé are on my side in this, but my fiancé's sister thinks I'm the a-hole for not forgiving my aunt and I should invite her. Am I the a-hole, Reddit? What the hell did I just read? Surely under no circumstances would anyone expect Opie to accept that. Let's read some comments. Honestly, if your mum is agreeing with your abuser, it might be time to cut her off as well. I've been known to injure anyone who hurts my child. What the F? Opie replies, It's going to be hard cutting off my mum, not going to lie, but thankfully I have my dad, so no stress, right? Oh my god, this is insane. Not the a-hole. Why is the fiancé's sister even chiming in? If the shoes were reversed, would she invite an uncle who SA'd her? If it's not too late to report your aunt and have her prosecuted, especially considering how unrepentant she is, I say do it. She should not be allowed around children. Opie replies, I tried to get her reported, but the police never believed me. Not the a-hole. Your mum and anyone who agrees with her needs to be disinvited. I would go no contact with them all, especially your mum. I think it might be essential to strongly consider hiring security for your wedding. I know some guests might find it strange. Some might even ask you about it. You don't have to tell them the reason, though. Just smile and assure them you care for their safety, which isn't a lie, it's just not 100% accurate to the situation. I'm so sorry about what happened to you, and I'm so sorry you're being betrayed again as an adult. Opie replies, Yeah, me and my fiancé are planning to hire extra security in case any unwelcome guests try to barge in. Yeah, I tend to agree with the comments here. You can't really compromise in this situation. Let's go to the first update. Hello everyone, I wanted to give you guys an update earlier, but so many more things happened. One of you suggested that my aunt could have done it to my younger brother, and that honestly made me look back on his past behaviour when we were teenagers. How he was always so aggressive when someone were to even touch him. How he would get into fights with boys at school because he didn't like when a girl touched him. So I decided to ask him about it, and it took 15 minutes of pushing and asking for him to finally admit that yes, Aunt Kay did some stuff to him as well. My dad was ticked when I told him my brother was a victim of Aunt Kay just like me. He said he would handle it and hung up the phone. After that, I decided to have a talk with my fiancé's sister and give her more context on what happened between my aunt and me. To say she was sorry is an understatement, to say the least. She thought I wouldn't invite my aunt because of something petty that happened back then, and that's why she said all of that. She's completely on my side now as well as the rest of my fiancé's family. That's all I have to say for now, until something else comes up. See you later, Reddit. Okay, on to the last update. Hey everyone, sorry I couldn't keep you all updated over the past 2 days, but so much more has happened and it really made me forget I made 2 posts on here. Okay, so after my talk with my brother and my future sister-in-law, I noticed I had a missed call from an unknown number, and when I called it back, it turned out it was Aunt Kay. I didn't hang up right then because I thought I could get her to confess to me that she SA'd both me and my brother. While yes, she confessed to my mum, but if anyone else asked her or the rest of the family anything, they would probably lie for Aunt Kay. Anyway, I made the choice to record the call with Aunt Kay, but she barely said anything except to ask me to meet at a park. I accepted, but I had my brother, future sister-in-law, and fiancé come with me to record our conversation from a distance. When I got to the park, I saw Aunt Kay sitting on a bench waiting for me, and when I saw her, I had all these terrible memories of everything she's done to me in those 8 years, but I kept my composure. When I sat down, she immediately started crying, and I don't know if it was a play for sympathy or what, but she started to explain why she did those things to me. She said she lost her husband during her pregnancy, and after the events of her husband's death, she suffered a tragic miscarriage. She said that she wasn't able to think straight after that and spiraled into a deep depression. That's when my assault comes into play. She said that she felt a certain tension between me and her because I looked so much like her husband, and she wanted to spend some intimate moments with him once again. By assaulting me, I stayed quiet the entire conversation, and when it finally ended, she asked for my forgiveness. I told her I can never do such a thing because of all the trauma she gave me. I would remember the times she would punch and kick me every time I said I didn't want this, how she would choke and threaten to kill me if I said anything to anyone, the times she even cut me with a kitchen knife as a little warning for the few times I almost did tell someone. So yeah, I can't forgive her. After I left the park, me and my brother went to the police station to report what Aunt Kay did to us. We gave them enough evidence that they'd possibly need to lock up Aunt Kay, and that's exactly what they did. After Aunt Kay was arrested, my mum and other family members started to blow up my phone with texts. My mum said she can't believe that I could do that to my own aunt, and my uncles and grandparents said that I was a disgrace to the family, and they're cutting me from the will. On the bright side, my maternal cousins are on my side because they didn't have any knowledge of what really happened between me and Aunt Kay. I still don't know why Aunt Kay targeted my brother as well, but at least she's locked up, right? I also made a decision to uninvite my mum and her family from my wedding because they're too toxic. Yes, I did invite my maternal cousins. I'd say this is my final update, as I've went no contact with my maternal side except my cousins. Thanks for the love and support, Reddit, and I appreciate all the advice you gave me. Wow, what a dramatic story. And to be honest, the most sickening part almost isn't even the abuse itself, which is obviously deplorable. It's the defense of her by the other family members. Like, geez, all too common these days. But to be honest, yeah, kind of suspicious of the legitimacy of this story, but nevertheless, it was a good read, with a good ending all in all. Anyway, what are your thoughts? Let me know. Okay, let's go to another story. Okay, this one's also on Am I the A-hole? It was written by user Low Detail, and it's titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my cousin I'm not having a child-free wedding? Her daughter just isn't invited. I, 27 male, am getting married in the fall to my fiancée, 25 female, and we've decided that friends and family can bring their kids, since for the most part the kids are well behaved and will be with the sitter for the night, so the parents can enjoy the festivities. The only exception is my cousin Linda's daughter, Cherry, 12. Linda's entitled and selfish, and she's made her daughter entitled and selfish. 2 years ago, my other cousin, Linda's sister Lily, got married, and Cherry ruined the wedding by throwing a tantrum and destroying the cake because she was jealous that Lily's daughter was the flower girl. Linda recently called me up to talk and brought up child-free weddings and how terrible they are. Her invitation said nothing about a child-free wedding. It had her name and her husband's name on it, and no +1 or anything to indicate that Cherry could come. I told her I wasn't having a child-free wedding. Cherry just wasn't invited because of what happened at Lily's wedding. I don't want a repeat of Cherry seeing she's not the flower girl again and throwing another fit. Linda's since gotten all her friends and the few people in the family who take her side to bombard me, my fiancé, and my family with texts about how selfish we are for purposely excluding one child while everyone else can bring their kids. Edit. Everyone keeps asking why invite Linda at all. Well, my family is very big on family is everything and family first, and respect your elders. If I'd not invited Linda and her husband at all, the crap storm would be much bigger, and the majority of my family would be calling me to tell me to invite her. Yeah, it's a little petty, but it seems justified in my opinion. Let's go to the comments. Not the a-hole. Cherry was 10 when she threw her fit, old enough to know better. So she's 12, going on 13 now, with extra fun hormones raging through her system. Has she/did she show any remorse for her behaviour? Is that an ongoing issue with her throwing tantrums when she's not the sole focus? Not the a-hole, but I would reply, "You're so right, it was really mean to exclude a child from the wedding her parents are invited to, therefore I rescind the invite to you and your husband." JAM, justified a-hole move. This shouldn't be funny, but it's pretty funny. Okay, let's go to an update, see what happened. I forgot about this account, but here's a small update in case anyone wanted to know what happened with Cherry and Linda. It's not that fun or exciting. Linda decided to boycott the wedding and got quite a lot of the family to boycott it with her. Me and my fiance got to invite more of our own friends to fill the empty seats, and we didn't have the usual family drama that always seems to occur at events, because all of the people who created the drama were absent. Emily was not the flower girl. Our friends' kids each got a small basket of petals to throw around. All in all, we had a great time. No tantrums, no cake smashing. And we've not been going to family events as much, apart from like Christmas at my parents', which is always a small affair with only immediate family, so no Linda and Cherry. Linda moved on from the wedding onto something else equally as stupid and insignificant, as has everyone else. Cherry's dad actually put his foot down for the first time. She's going to be held back a year for her poor grades, and I think she's going to do some kind of behavioural therapy. I'm not sure, it's all I've heard through the grapevine. Maybe she'll get invited to the next wedding if her behaviour actually improves. Okie dokie folks, and that's the end of that story. What are your thoughts about that one? Maybe you got a similar story you'd like to share. Am I the a-hole? My ex-girlfriend told me my current girlfriend sabotaged our relationship. I, 28 male, am really confused about the events of the last month. My ex-girlfriend Julie, 29, thinks that my current girlfriend Mindy, 28, is manipulative and sabotaged our 4-year relationship. I was in a loving relationship with Julie for the last 4 years. We met through some mutual friends. Julie and I were very compatible in terms of our love for outdoor activities and running. We have very similar lifestyles and supported each other well for the last 4 years. We have also been living together for the last 3 years. We even discussed getting married during the summer. Everything was great, and I was planning to propose to her over the holidays. However, I started to see changes in behaviour in Julie around September. She was acting distant and looked stressed. It was quite noticeable, and I was worried. I trust her with all my heart, and I could not imagine she would be cheating on me. However, she did spend more time by herself. Around at the same time, Julie's friend Mindy messaged me privately and asked me if I could meet her secretly, as she wanted to tell me something about Julie. Mindy and Julie work together, and I've known Mindy ever since I started dating Julie. I was surprised, but to be honest, I assumed the worst. I met her at a cafe after work. She asked me if things were going okay between Julie and me. She told me that Julie told her that she was planning to leave me soon. This was a total shock to me. I asked her if there was anyone else that Julie was interested in, and she told me no. Julie confided in her that she was not sure about marrying me. She told me she just had to tell me this as she did not want me to be blindsided. I was devastated. I started putting more effort into making our relationship more exciting and planning more dates, etc. Mindy was also helping me through this time and telling me more about what Julie told her. Eventually, before Thanksgiving, Julie told me that she loved me, but she wanted to take a break for a month to live alone. She said that she just wanted to live alone for a month to make sure she wanted to marry me. I was completely heartbroken. I asked her if she wanted to pursue someone else. She told me that was not the case, and I better not do anything stupid either. She loves me with all her heart, but she just wants to stay away from me to make sure that she is marrying me for love, and not because she is used to being with me. I did not understand that at all. I told her that if she's not sure after 4 years if she wants to marry me, then maybe we should just break up. We had a big fight, and broke up after a few days. As our lease was ending, we decided to part ways in December. She got a new apartment, and I kept our old apartment and just took her name off the lease. After the breakup, I was feeling very lonely, as I was not used to being in the apartment alone. I didn't want to keep on being sad, and hence invited a bunch of friends over for a New Year's party. I also invited Mindy. We had a good time, and my friends were doing their best to cheer me up. Mindy also mingled with my friends, and it was good. Mindy decided to stay back to help me clean up, and we hooked up that night. I felt guilty, but Mindy did cheer me up. Since then, we've hung out almost daily at my place. I'm still sad about Julie, but I won't lie that being with Mindy does make me feel happy. She is sweet and caring. Last Sunday we woke up and someone was banging on the door. I went to open it and it was Julie. She looked furious and started yelling at me. She kept on accusing me of cheating on her. I told her I most certainly did not cheat on her, and she was the one who broke up with me. Mindy was also at my apartment. Julie was just angry at both of us. She started calling Mindy a manipulative bee and told me that Mindy was the one who suggested to her that she should take some time away from me to understand her true feelings. I calmed her down and asked her to explain herself. She told me that ever since our marriage talk, she told Mindy about it, and Mindy kept on asking Julie if she was sure about marrying me. Mindy suggested she take some time to herself to understand her true feelings, and that I'll understand and give her space. When I said no, Mindy convinced her that I was so controlling that I could not even give her 1 month to herself, and convinced her to break up with me. Mindy told me that she did not say any such things, and these were all Julie's ideas, and she was just there during these conversations. She did tell Julie that she told me about some of the things so that I get a chance to make things right with her over the last few months. That made Julie more angry, and she started accusing me of emotionally cheating on her. Julie told me that the last few weeks have made her realize that we were meant to be together, but she now cannot believe I could move on from a 4-year relationship in a week. On one hand, I want to believe Julie, but she broke up with me for no fault of my own. Mindy was there for me when I was down, but now I also doubt her. She suddenly started talking to me out of the blue, as we were never really close before, and immediately became my support after the breakup, although Julie was her close friend. Am I the a-hole to emotionally cheat on Julie? Should I have told her about Mindy's texts? Should I have not moved on from her so quickly, even though Julie broke up with me? I was just hurting, and Mindy was right there to support me. I need advice from someone with a clear mind on what the F is going on. Yeah, first of all, this all seems very juvenile, but I think the fact that Mindy was always just there for him after the breakup isn't a coincidence. Sounds like she's been telling both parties lies to, tear them apart. Let's look at the comments. It does sound like Mindy manipulated the situation in her favour. She got Julie out of the picture and you in her bed. Yikes. Mindy wanted her friend's man, and she knew what she was doing telling Julie about her true feelings just to hook up with you. She's a manipulative bee, Lamau. If this story is real, then it definitely sounds like there's a good chance Mindy manipulated both of you because she wanted you for herself. Your first screw-up was having these secret meetings with Mindy in the first place and not telling Julie. Also, there's nothing wrong with a rebound, but it does suck that you chose a friend of hers. She probably isn't going to be able to get over this. Sounds like you and Julie need to talk privately and discuss what Mindy said to each of you. As others said, this sounds all too convenient. Mindy was in both of your ears telling you both what she wanted you to hear to orchestrate this whole thing. Please reach out to Julie and ask her to talk to you alone. Even if you don't get back together, I'm sure you care for each other deeply, and she would want you to be with someone who cares about you and won't manipulate you and her. Her manipulation of you is more direct, but Julie is the victim as well, not the a-hole. Opie replies, "You are right. If Julie is right, I just threw a 4-year relationship under the bus in 2 weeks." So what's your reason for sleeping with your ex's good friend weeks after the breakup? It's understandable you wanted to move on, but why her? Opie replies, "I was not planning on it, but she just stayed back after the party and things happened. Did I feel guilty after that? Yes. I felt discarded and unwanted after a 4-year relationship and was not thinking straight." Okay, on to an update. I posted last week regarding my girlfriend Julie accusing her friend and co-worker Mindy of sabotaging our relationship. Julie broke up with me in December after a 4-year relationship, and Mindy reached out to me when I was feeling down. However, when Julie realized Mindy was talking to me, she confronted both of us last Sunday morning and told me that Mindy manipulated her to break up with me. The worst part was I was not thinking straight after the breakup and ended up hooking up with Mindy after a New Year's party. After the incident, I asked Mindy that I needed some time and did not meet her. Since then I made the following post on Reddit and had 3,000 people call me an idiot. I'm sorry for the long post, but I wanted to say that we were not idiots to not see what happened. You guys read an abridged version of events in 5 minutes, while we lived it for the last 7 months. I messaged Julie every day since then to try to talk to her. She did not reply to my messages. I was not sure if she blocked me. Mindy was constantly trying to message me, asking if we could meet and talk about it. On Wednesday, one day after posting, I decided to message Mindy. I told her to tell me everything she said to Julie truthfully. I told her I would go no contact if I found out that she was lying. Mindy wanted to meet me in person or talk to me on the phone, but I wanted everything in writing. She messaged me that Julie always said good things about me for all these years. When Julie told her about us talking about getting married in 2024, she was happy for both of us. However, Julie started telling her that she had cold feet and was not sure if she wanted to marry me because of issues she observed about her parents' marriage. One day, Julie told her she wanted to take a break from me. She was not sure about her true feelings for me. That was the time Mindy told me about Julie's behaviour, as she felt bad for me, as we were already telling our families about engagement plans. After our flight, she said that Julie was extremely upset and told Mindy that she would never marry me. She said that the only reason Julie came back was when she heard that I was moving on, as she is jealous of us. She also said that I was a good guy, and hopefully I see that what we have is something special. I just said okay and told her I needed time. I kept on messaging Julie once a day to at least talk to her once. It was heartbreaking to think that she may have blocked me and may never talk to me again. On Friday afternoon, Julie finally replied. She said she wanted to meet me and told me she would come to our apartment on Saturday afternoon. I cleaned the place up and was just feeling deep guilt from inside before facing her. When she came in, she looked like a shell of herself and completely broken. I sat on our sofa, but she chose to sit away from me. We asked how we both were, but it was clear that none of us were doing well. I started apologizing, but she stopped me. She asked me to let her finish and not to interrupt her. She had brought her little notebook and had written down things she wanted to say to me. She told me that she truly loved me, but after we discussed getting married, she started feeling scared of the next big step. She thought those feelings were normal and would go away, so she decided to not discuss her concerns with me. It kept on eating her from the inside, and she made a mistake to talk to Mindy about them. She said that she wanted to say everything to me now, so I don't get second-hand information about why she was distant and broke up with me. She said that her parents had a very rocky marriage, although they were together until her mum passed away in 2021 during the pandemic. Her parents argued constantly, and she always thought her mum did not love her dad. However, her mum was extremely dependent on him for everything, and her dad knew it, and hence didn't treat her well. She never wanted to be like her mum after the marriage. However, as we lived together, she started seeing some of those issues in our relationship. For example, when we met, Julie had a lot of credit card debt and was bad at managing her money. I helped her with that. Even though we have separate finances, I ended up managing all her finances, investments, etc., at her request, to the point that she did not know or understand where her money exactly was. She also said that we always enjoy making nice meals for dinner every day. However, whenever I work late, she completely loses any motivation to cook and ends up eating cheese and crackers like a toddler for dinner. She also complained that in the last 4 years of our relationship, I've never said no to her for buying anything. She feels that I coddle her, and she just got comfortable with all the luxuries and things I can provide for her. She talked about this with Mindy, and while Mindy initially just listened to her, she told her around September that one of her cousins also had the same issue. She decided to stay away from her fiancé for a month, and within a week, she realized how much she missed him and never had doubts again. When Julie asked for a break, all she wanted to do was to live with her best friend for a few weeks to see if she was just too codependent on me. She knew I was planning to propose during our Christmas trip to my parents' house, and when I told her that she could not take a break, she just freaked out and broke up with me, as she did not want to be engaged without knowing for sure that we won't end up like her parents. After this, she asked me when I started meeting Mindy and how many times we met. I opened my chat messages with Mindy and handed her the phone. I told her I met Mindy only once in September, where she told me that Julie wanted to break up with me because she was not happy with our relationship. I already had noticed Julie's distant behaviour, and when I asked her, the only answer I got was, "I'm fine, we are fine." Due to my insecurities, I tried to hold on to Julie and started coddling her more, planning more expensive dates, and trying to spend more time at home. When Julie asked me for a break and to stay away from me for a few weeks, I thought that was the final step before the breakup, and broke down and fought with her, which led to our breakup and her moving out. At this point, Julie's voice started cracking up. She asked me when Mindy contacted you after the breakup. I pointed her to the messages. Mindy initially just started sending me memes to cheer me up, and I just used to respond with thanks or a thumbs up. However, the messages started getting more frequent, and she offered to talk to me in case I needed help. She asked me what I was doing for Christmas and New Year's, and when I told her I was inviting a few friends, she told me that she does not have any plans for New Year's, and I invited her. Julie stopped me there. She told me she did not need to hear the details after that. She told me that when she moved out of our house after our fight, she thought she was just not ready to get married to me. She stayed with her friend for 2 weeks, and then got her new apartment in January. She told me that she was miserable and missed me badly. It became more acute when she moved into the apartment alone and could not stay there for even one night. Her best friend is currently staying with her in the new apartment. She realized she could not live without me within a week of living there. When she asked one of our mutual friends on Saturday about how I was doing, she told her about the party and told her Mindy was there. It did not make sense to her why Mindy would be at the party. She concluded that Mindy and I were having an affair during our relationship, and that was the reason Mindy must have tried to break us apart by constantly telling her that she should not get married if she had doubts. When she saw Mindy in our apartment on Sunday, she completely broke down. However, when she learned that Mindy was also talking to me and telling me the opposite things, she realized how naive she was to throw everything away without properly talking to me first. As hurt as she is seeing me with Mindy, she also does not want to lose me. She kept on calling herself an idiot and apologizing for not telling her concerns to me sooner. I sat next to her and tried to hug her, but she moved away. She asked me if I was willing to still be together, and I told her I would give anything to get her back. She told me she was also willing to forget what happened, but she had a few conditions. Her first condition was that I cut contact with Mindy. I block her everywhere and never contact her again. If I see her standing in front of me, I act as if she is invisible. I was okay with that. Secondly, she has already signed up for individual therapy and is on the wait list. She wants us to do couples therapy so that we can talk about all the concerns we have and work through them. We also decided to hold off our engagement or marriage until we both can get into couples therapy. I was also okay with that too. Finally, she wanted me to forget the last month as a bad nightmare and never talk about it again. And if I ever make a "we were on a break" joke, she'll punch me in the face. This was the first time we both smiled. I asked her what she was going to do about Mindy as they worked together. She said the biggest punishment for Mindy is to know that she did not succeed in breaking us up. She wants Mindy to see how happy she is with me. She wants Mindy to be there when she flaunts her engagement ring in the office and gets jealous when we get married. We hugged, and I felt so relieved that I had a chance to make things right for her. I asked her to stay, and she agreed. The rest of the evening was nice. We ordered DoorDash and watched reruns of Top Chef while cuddling on the couch. In the morning, we discussed moving in back together. I want her to move back to our old apartment, but she wants a fresh start and asked me if I'm willing to move into her new apartment. Her new apartment is tiny compared to our current apartment and also not in the best neighborhood, but we'll talk about it more and decide. I also will have to deal with the issue of having 2 12-month leases and how to get out of one of them. Currently, Julie went to her apartment after lunch to get some of her stuff for the week, and I'm writing this post. I'm just so lucky that I did not lose Julie, despite my terrible actions during the last month. I just hope that I'll be able to work things out and get married soon, and this whole incident is a small bump in our perfect relationship. I also don't know how to address the issue where she feels coddled by my behaviour and feels like I'm making her codependent on me. It's just my personality, and I need to work on that during couples therapy. However, any tips from you guys are welcome on how to make her feel less codependent. Okie dokie, and that's the end of that story. Yeah, pretty good ending there. Seems like they worked things out just by talking to each other. It's just frustrating sometimes when it can get to that point without them actually talking to each other and giving their sides of the story. But oh well, all's well that ends well, it looks like. Give me your thoughts about that one in the comments and we'll jump to another story. Okay, well, on the same subreddit, this one was written by user Vast Willow, and it's titled, "Am I the a-hole for not wanting to work with a co-worker who followed me and took pictures of me with my extramarital partner?" So first off, I never cheated on my wife. We have an open marriage. We each have our own extramarital partners that we see together and or by ourselves. My co-workers all know that I'm married as wife accompanies me to work events, but they did not know about our open marriage. A few months ago, my wife told me she got sent a bunch of pictures from my co-worker Jordan. The pictures are of me when I was on a date with another woman. My wife knows about this partner and knew about us being out that date, so she was not surprised at all, but found the whole thing funny. I, however, was a little weirded out. I could understand maybe taking a picture or two, but based on the pictures, Jordan would have had to have been following us for 5+ hours, to the point where she must have followed us in a car to multiple locations, as well as waited outside the hotel room the whole time. That just creeped me out. After explaining that to my wife, she agreed it was a little creepy. Jordan and I usually work together fairly frequently, but I didn't feel comfortable working with her anymore, so I decided to talk to HR about it, and Jordan was put on other projects. The other projects Jordan got put on aren't as good as the projects I'm on, so now Jordan is upset because she thinks I've derailed her career, which honestly may be true, when all she was doing was trying to look out for my wife. She thinks what she did was reasonable considering no one knew about me and my wife's open marriage. Once everything was explained, I should have gotten over it, and she shouldn't get punished for doing the right thing. I still don't feel comfortable working with her though, kind of even less than before since I feel like she's so hostile now. Yeah, I mean, like Opie said, a couple pictures I could understand, but like following them around for hours, she probably thought she was some sort of vigilante or something. Let's go to the comments. Not the a-hole. If someone took a picture of me with another partner and sent it to my primary partner, it could be overlooked as just looking out for them. But this person took many pictures and followed you to different locations for 5+ hours. That is beyond excessive and would make most people uncomfortable. Not the a-hole. What Jordan is doing is absolutely ridiculous. That's called stalking. You did nothing wrong. Not the a-hole. You really need to stay away from Jordan. Why is she stalking you? I think she may have feelings for you and took this as an opportunity to get you separated from your wife so she could comfort you and move in. No other reason why someone would stalk you, or I could just have a wild imagination. Yeah, it's probably reaching a bit. I'd say you have a wild imagination. I think Jordan's just trying to live out a private investigator dream or something. Let's go to the update. So, a thing happened with a new coworker yesterday. When making introductions, Jordan decided to bring up my open marriage, which was super awkward and weird. I ended up going back to HR about it at the end of the day. They'd already gotten other comments from some other employees about it, and said right away that it was inappropriate and they would be taking disciplinary action. When I came into work today, I found out Jordan was let go. Funny little thing I heard from someone else was that she apparently had tried to defend herself by saying she was just trying to be helpful by making sure the new employee was clearly informed and didn't misunderstand things like her. God, what a piss poor excuse. Good riddance, I guess. What are your thoughts about this one? Let me know in the comments. I broke up with my girlfriend of 3 years because she wanted to remain a virgin. Now she wants to get back together, but told me she had sex with someone else when we were broken up. How should I proceed? I, 23 male, met my ex, 21 female, 3 years ago. We lived on campus at uni in different halls of residence. After a few months we got together, and for the most part had a very happy relationship. There was always one issue though. My ex grew up in a very religious home. Her father is a pastor. She's been open with her family that she does not share their faith. They weren't happy about it, but accepted that she has to make her own choices on that. Nevertheless, I think some of that religious upbringing was still in her mind. I grew up in a different religion, but was never very serious about it, and am no longer religious. Our relationship was pretty normal, except that she told me very early that she was a virgin and wanted to stay that way until she was married. It wasn't for religious reasons. As I mentioned, she isn't religious, but she was very focused on not disappointing her dad. We did other sexual things, just not intercourse. I never had much luck with girls growing up, and going into the relationship I was a virgin, and I still am, at least if you classify being a virgin as never having had intercourse. Anyway, I was becoming more resentful of the fact that everyone I know was having normal sexual relationships, and we weren't. I couldn't understand why she didn't want to have a full sexual relationship, though of course I never pressured her about it. I felt that while I was at uni and pretty broke, getting married was something for the future. Last year I was in my last year of uni, and she was working in her first professional job. Her degree was shorter than mine, so she finished uni first, despite being younger than me. She was talking a lot about all these successful guys she met at work, which did make me feel lesser as I was still a broke uni student. Coupled with her still not wanting a full sexual relationship, it did make me feel more resentful. We had some arguments about it, and after a while I felt that I should end the relationship as we wanted different things and our lives were on different paths. It was awful. She was crying a lot and I felt terrible afterwards. Anyway, it's been nearly 6 months since we broke up. We haven't been in touch at all for most of that time. I've not been involved with anyone else in that time as I was 100% focused on finishing my degree. I've finally finished uni and am about to start my first professional job. She recently got in touch again and asked to meet up. I was hesitant but decided we had so much good history that I should hear her out. She told me she's been missing me terribly these past 6 months, but she thinks she wants to get back together and is open to having a sexual relationship now. I asked her why now, what changed, and she looked uncomfortable. After a little prying, she said she had a short-term fling with one of the older guys at work while we were broken up, which of course was fine as she wasn't my girlfriend anymore. Anyway, she said he persisted with her until she started having sex with him. She ended it with him recently. She was clear that it was consensual, but that the guy was very persistent with pursuing sex with her. I was gutted. I couldn't understand why she'd make me wait all those years, but was fine doing it with some new guy she'd only been seeing a short time. I asked if the reason she was open to having a sexual relationship now is because she wasn't a virgin anymore. She said yes. I asked her to give me some space to process all of this. I'm conflicted and would love some advice on this. I've missed her a lot and still have strong feelings for her, but at the same time it feels like I was strung along for years. It's hard to put my finger on why I don't want to take her back. Everything logically makes sense for us to get back together. I'd even get to finally have a sexual relationship with her, but I feel awful about this whole thing and don't want to ignore those feelings. Geez, the fact that it's a problem for OP now means it's probably going to be a problem in the future as well. Let's go to the comments. Don't get back together. This will eat at you forever. My thoughts too. In the context of why OP and his ex broke up in the first place, I'd tell her to F off. It honestly sounds like she felt safe and had fun with OP, but when it came to sexual attraction, she doesn't really feel that way towards OP. She misses her safety blanket and she's willing to give pity sex as payment. However, more than likely she'll come to resent her lack of attraction and either cut sex all out together and or cheat. This relationship is doomed, OP. She's not the person you thought she was. Edit. Men do this too. Please don't make my statement about gender. Seen plenty of men do this to women too. Stop using people as safety blankets when you're not really into them. It's deceitful and crappy. Your feelings are valid. If it bothers you, don't get back with her. OP replies, thank you, you're right of course. I feel like I've spent a lot of time putting the feelings of others first, not just my ex but also my family. It's good to get a reminder that my feelings count too. Yeah, move on bro. Look mate, you're too young for this kind of thing. You should build your sexual confidence. There's no way in hell you could do that with this girl. Neither of you are wrong, but I just think there's too much baggage now. OP adds a comment. Some of the comments are being very harsh on my ex, and I guess that's not surprising. You don't know her. She's not some evil, manipulative villain at all. I would never have been with anyone like that. She's still the funny, smart, charming, beautiful girl I always knew. Any guy would be lucky to have her. I would be too if I could handle the baggage here, but I'm thinking I probably can't, and a clean break is the way to go. Though she may regret the relationship with the other man, it's not my business as she was a single woman, and we were broken up. I wasn't ever expecting to hear from her again, really. This whole situation is very surprising to me. I'm feeling hurt because I guess this is a solid blow to my ego, that I feel like the lesser man here. I can own that, and that's something for me to work on. Ultimately, I have some hang-ups about sex from this relationship that I need to deal with. A few people have suggested I could benefit from therapy. I'm going to look into that. I think I need help to process all these emotions from this situation. Another commenter asks, I would ask her why she was willing to sleep with this guy after such a short relationship, but after 3 years, she was not willing to sleep with you. OP says, I think this is the right question, because I don't know why. She didn't say. All she said was that the guy was persistent. I'm torn about whether to simply text her that I don't want to rekindle things and leave it all in the past, or whether I should ask more questions about what happened, because this hurts. I don't know if I'm ready to get details of her relationship with the other guy. Sometimes I just feel like I'm stunted in some way. A few comments have said I'm immature, and they're probably right. I know I'm the one that ended the relationship, and that she's entitled to do what she wants with anyone else. Still doesn't make it hurt any less. and maybe it's just best to say goodbye and leave all this in the past. Okay, on to an update. Hello again. I appreciate people taking the time to comment on my last post. The response was a lot more than I expected, with over 2,000 comments. I'm amazed so many people wanted to comment about my situation. Thank you. Warning, this post is long. I've kept a daily journal since I was 16. A lot of what follows is dumps from my journal. Yes, I know I'm not concise. I'm going to refer to my ex as Ellie, not her real name. I'd like to write a bit about the comments because so many people took the time to provide their thoughts, and I appreciate that. The majority of comments was some variation of move on, a clean break, a strong recommendation with a lot to recommend it. A minority said give her a chance and see how it goes. Plenty calling me an a-hole for ending it because I wanted sex in our relationship or for being obsessed with her virginity, that I dumped her because she wouldn't put out, and quite a few saying my breaking up with her made her feel like sex is necessary to keep a guy and that it drove her heartbroken into the next guy's bed. There were a few she's pregnant comments, not that I know of, it's not impossible, but if that happens, it won't be anything to do with me. The dude saying I should bang her and leave her, or worse, seriously, some of you guys need a hug or a psychologist. No, I would never use her like that, no matter our past. Ellie and I were a loving couple for years. That counts for something even after we broke up. Feeling hurt doesn't justify using her, or anyone else for that matter. As for comments that I have some hang-up about taking her virginity, my issue when together was that we weren't having sex in our relationship, not whether she was a virgin or not. Her being a virgin was her reason for being abstinent, but wasn't directly an issue either way with me. If she hadn't been a virgin and wanted to be abstinent, I would have been in the same situation. The title of my last post was not great really. I broke up because we were not having sex, not because she was a virgin. Bear in mind, for 3 years Ellie had everything she wanted from our relationship: boyfriend, love, affection, loyalty, support, and a guy who respected her wishes to be abstinent. While she got 100% of what she wanted, for me there was a big element missing, and there was no way to reconcile that. Either we were having sex or not having it. Sex requires both to say yes, and that wasn't going to happen. With hindsight, I should have ended the relationship early on, when Ellie first told me she wanted to not have sex until marriage. When we got together, I was a naive 19-year-old who had never had a girlfriend before, so I kind of went along with things because I really liked her and got along with her so well. I fell in love with her and then kind of felt stuck in a relationship that wasn't what I wanted. I've learned from this and won't make that mistake in the future. I want to make active, not passive choices in future relationships, to not just go along with things because that's what the other person wants. Our views about sex in our relationship were not compatible, so I ended the relationship rather than waiting any longer hoping she'd change her mind. It was scary to take that step, and I put it off for way too long because I didn't want to hurt her. But I couldn't stay in the relationship just for her. I had to also consider myself too. My mistake was waiting so long to get to that point. I regret that, as it caused her more hurt than if I'd ended it early on. Many of you say that sex just isn't that important, but for me it is, at least as part of a relationship. You can disagree, that's fine. Some people are fine being in no-sex relationships. No judgment from me, but that's not what I want. Some people took issue with me saying I felt she strung me along. On reflection, that's fair. Ellie was clear to me about wanting to not have sex until marriage. I foolishly stayed way too long, hoping she'd change her mind one day. She didn't. That was my mistake. I strung myself along, really. She never led me on in any way. It hurt to learn that she had sex with the next guy relatively quickly after I waited for so long. But she is my ex, so that is not my business anymore. She's allowed to change her mind. She can have sex, or not, with whoever she chooses. I don't get a say in that. My hurt is an emotional response, not a logical one. Logically, I see she did nothing wrong by me. I'll get over it. It's just my bruised ego, if I'm honest with myself. Feeling I'm somehow a lesser man because she took that step with the next guy. I know objectively that isn't true, but I sure feel it. I was not a perfect boyfriend and I've made mistakes. I've learned from them. I don't regret breaking up with Ellie, and I still think it was the right decision for me. Enough background. A few things have happened. Last weekend was the Australia Day long weekend. I was on a camping trip, in the Grampians for any Aussies reading, hello. It was so nice to be in nature, to do some bushwalks with friends and decompress. It felt good to talk about the Ellie situation with my mates around the campfire. Most of them knew Ellie pretty well from our years together, and they had a range of views, just like the commenters on my post. And I got the usual good-natured crap about still being a virgin. I learned there's an expensive bottle of scotch they bought a while ago that's going to have its seal cracked when mine is. Idiots, lol. One great question a friend asked was whether I would have ever decided to reach out and take Ellie back if she never reached out to me first. The answer is no. It was so obvious to me. That cut through a lot of the confusion for me. I was being too passive in this situation and needed to do what I want, not just react to what Ellie wanted. By the time I was on my way home, I had decided to not get back together with her. But that was mute. When I was driving home and got mobile signal again, no mobile network where we camped, the network delivered a bunch of messages from Ellie all at once. She said she was wrong to ask me to get back together and that she's back with Tim, fake name, now. She also texted that the thing with Tim is more serious than she told me when she last met with me. She apologized for misleading me about her and Tim's relationship. If you remember, she called it a fling before. She asked if we could meet to talk about it. I was not happy, so I just texted back, no. Not very mature of me, but I wasn't in the mood to hear more about all of this, and I was surprised and ticked off that she lied to me. That seemed very out of character for her. She tried calling me, but I didn't want to answer. She sent another text saying, Tim and I had a fight. I shouldn't have come to you. And finally, I'm sorry. When I got home, I was an idiot and let my curiosity get the better of me. I looked up Tim online. His real given name is uncommon, so it wasn't hard to find. I found him on LinkedIn, which gave me his full name. Ellie is one of his connections, and he works at the same firm, so I was confident it's him. He's a director at their firm, one level below partner. He also has pics on Insta, lots of posts about his adventures around the world at various events and exotic places, as well as shots with an expensive-looking car. A few photos of him with Ellie with their arms around each other in Singapore in November. I guess that confirms it was serious. He wouldn't have public pics with her for a casual fling. All that just made me feel bad. No good comes from comparing myself to my ex's successful boyfriend. Ellie is not my girlfriend and I'm not in competition with Tim, so I won't do that again. My ego's bruised enough already. I've been living a very frugal life my whole time at uni, aka poor as F, so I know I can feel inferior when I see people with wealth. That's another me problem to sort out. Anyway, all that was on Sunday afternoon/evening. On Tuesday evening, Ellie knocked at my door. She said that she knows I didn't want to talk to her, but she felt bad about everything and hoped I would let her explain herself, clear the air, and then I'd never see her again if that's what I wanted. I let her in. I was not happy with recent events, but figured I might at least get a clearer idea of what's going on. It was a long, heavy conversation over 4 hours, but here's the gist as I remember it. When we broke up, she was devastated. She said it took a couple of months before she started to feel a bit better. She missed me constantly and wanted to see me the whole time, but when I ended it, we agreed to keep apart and heal. In September, she met Tim at work. He manages a different team. She doesn't work for him. She said he was very charming and attractive and showed almost immediate interest in her. They got to know each other, and he asked her out. She was worried it was a rebound, but felt so much better getting his attention that she went along with it. After dating for a while, she developed feelings for him, and that later led to a sexual relationship. It wasn't a fling, and she dated him for a while beforehand. I asked about whether he had pressured her into sex. Last time said he was very persistent. She said she was trying not to upset me. She thought if she gave the impression she was reluctant to have sex with Tim, that I wouldn't think as badly of her. So it was a story to try and spare my feelings. I told her it just made me worried she had been assaulted. She looked shocked at that and said no way. She was actually the one who initiated their sexual relationship. I said although I don't like that she lied to me, I can understand why. I don't think she did anything wrong changing her mind about abstinence. Yes, I was hurt when she told me she was having sex, but I have no right to judge her for anything. She's a single adult and it's her life. I don't think badly of her. She burst into tears and said something like, I thought you must hate me now. I assured her that I didn't. She said she was sad it didn't work for us, but that she would never have dropped her virginity commitment if we had not broken up. After we broke up, she decided that it was a commitment she made to her dad when she was still a kid, and it was messing with the life she wants now. So by the time she and Tim got into their relationship, she had already decided she was ready for sex with the right person. I asked about her dad, and she just said, he doesn't need to know. I asked about why she asked to get back together. Tim is older. She told me he's 32, and has been at the firm 10 years. One day at work, one of the women made a snarky comment to Ellie about being another one of Tim's girls. She did some digging, and it turns out Tim has a history. He's dated a long list of women from work. Several of them were young graduate employees, just like Ellie. The rumour around the office is that Ellie is just the next girl to get used by him. She was horrified. She accused Tim of using her. They argued, and she told him it was over. Soon after that, she came to me. She felt as if we might be able to rekindle things now that she was open to a sexual relationship, but my hesitation and time to calm down made her realise that was a mistake. Over the weekend, Tim asked her to work things out. She decided to give it a chance. She tried to call me, but they went to voicemail. I was camping, so she sent those messages instead. So, I guess that's settled. I don't want her back, and she's in a relationship, so she doesn't want me back either. We chatted a bit about how our families are going. She congratulated me on finally finishing uni. She asked if I'd been seeing anyone, and when I told her I'd been studying hard and working a lot since exams, retail job, with no time for girls, she laughed and said I'm still a big nerd. She hoped we could be friendly if we ever see each other, but she wants to keep out of contact, out of respect for her relationship with Tim. She wants to give it a real chance of working, which is fair enough. She gave me a hug, said thank you for understanding, and left. So there you have it. Ellie involved me in her relationship drama. I would have preferred she hadn't, but at least it's sorted now. I'm glad I paid attention to my feelings and took time out to consider things, as it could have been very messy if I'd taken her back. Trusting my gut has been the biggest lesson for me in all of this. I still care for her, despite recent events. It seems like she's dealing with a lot of complicated things between her new relationship and work gossip. I wish her well, and hope she'll be happy, whether it's with Tim or not. She was my first love, and I expect I'll always have warm memories of her. But I'm clear now that I don't want her back. She is my past, and I want to look forward. Well, this has become an essay. Tutors at uni always told me I was too waffly in my writing. Well, F those guys, I'm not a student anymore. I can now focus on launching my new career with no distractions. I've worked so hard for so long to get here. My new job starts on Monday. It's going to be so great building actual real experience in my new profession, not just endless theory. I'll be earning much better money, no more student poverty, and I've got graduation in May to look forward to as well. I'm open to finding someone new, but that is way down my priority list. I'm not going to actively pursue that anytime soon. Cheers everyone for your advice and comments. Edit, the next day. Okay, you've convinced me. Today I blocked Ellie on everything. Since we agreed not to be in touch again, that shouldn't matter. But if she doesn't stick to that agreement, example if she and Tim split and fight again, then it won't be easy for her to contact me again. I thought it was a petty thing to block someone, but in this case you've convinced me that it's a way to take control of the situation. With luck, I won't hear from her again, and if I do, like if she knocks on the door, I'll remind her of our agreement and shut her off. Time to stop being passive and take charge of my life, a life Ellie will not be a part of. Now for some final comments. Someone says, glad you came to the conclusion best for you. However, I feel you gave Ellie too much of what she wanted to feel better about herself at the expense of your own emotional well-being. Opie replies, I was pretty churned up about things from when she first asked to get back together. I wish she hadn't done that. But after she came to see me on Tuesday, it was a bit easier for me. We got to mutually say no to a future together and also put a lot of baggage in the bin. Is Ellie going to be happy? I don't know. I hope so, but I have my doubts about this Tim dude, but you probably can't trust my judgment on that. More relevant to me is whether I'm going to be happy. The answer is frick yes, because I'm gonna make that happen. Okay guys, and that's the end of that story. Yeah, nice to see Opie taking charge of his life. Sounds like the kind of guy that's always kind of tiptoed and catered to other people's needs, but good to see that now he's getting a bit more assertive with his own life. Am I the a-hole for being suspicious of my girlfriend's friend after she tried to test me? I, 30 male, have been dating my girlfriend Olivia, 23, for the last 1 year. We met at a coffee shop near my office which I used to frequent to get my morning coffee, and she worked there as a barista. I asked her out and she said yes. Things have been great so far, and I feel we are compatible in terms of what we like and want from a relationship. She has a group of 3 girlfriends she is close with. These girls are always very welcoming to me, but they seem very immature compared to my friends. One of the girls is Harper, 23. Harper is awesome and we get along well since we like the same video games and music. Recently, Olivia and I were talking about taking our relationship to the next stage, and I asked her to move in with me. She spends 4 to 5 nights a week at my place anyway, so I asked her to just move in. For some reason, her parents are the most excited about this, as she is finally moving out of their house. She also told her friends about the same. On Saturday, Olivia decided to stay back at her parents' house to pack some of her things. Harper messaged Olivia and me that she and her friends were downtown, and if we wanted to hang out with her. Olivia was gone, but she told me it was okay if I wanted to go out for drinks with the girls. I had nothing to do, and hence I joined them. It was all 3 of her friends and me, and we went to a few bars. We lost the other 2 girls midway, and it was just Harper and I. I was constantly messaging Olivia about what was going on, as I started to get uncomfortable with the situation. As it was getting late, I told Harper that I would get an Uber for her to drop her home. She told me that she wanted to go dancing. At this point, she was visibly getting drunk. I called an Uber for her anyway. As we were leaving the bar, Harper grabbed my t-shirt and tried to kiss me. I immediately pulled back and told her that this was making me uncomfortable and I would let it pass since she was drunk. She apologized to me. As we were waiting for Uber, she again started getting handsy and told me, "Let's go back to your place," and "No one needs to know." I snapped at her at this point and told her to please shut up until she got into the car. Finally, the Uber came, and I got Harper to get in. She kept on apologizing to me and telling me, "Please don't tell Olivia." Finally, her Uber left and I tracked it on my phone to make sure she reached home. I asked Olivia to check with Harper's roommate if she got safely to her apartment. As I was walking home, I called Olivia and told her about what happened. Olivia was crying and I was genuinely ticked at Harper's behavior. Olivia tried to call Harper at night, but her phone was going straight to her voicemail. In the morning, Olivia came home and told me, "Hey, it's all good, it was just a test." I was angry at this point and I asked Olivia to explain what was going on. So Harper messaged Olivia in the morning that Olivia was really lucky and that I passed the test. I asked Olivia if she was involved in this, and she did not know that Harper was going to test me. According to Harper, she wanted to make sure that I was not a cheater before Olivia moved in with me, hence she wanted to see if I accepted her advances. I told Olivia that Harper is full of crap because she was drunk and there's no way she was thinking straight. Moreover, when I snapped at her, she apologized and told me not to tell you anything. Harper is just trying to cover for her mistake and is giving a bullcrap excuse. Olivia thinks I'm overreacting. According to her, Harper is her best friend and will never betray her. Although the test was stupid and Harper should apologize to me, she was just looking out for Olivia's best interest. Also, Olivia feels nothing happened, so I should not make a big deal of it. I just feel Olivia is dumb and cannot see that her friend tried to get her boyfriend to cheat. I just feel she's too immature to understand Harper's true intentions, and it's bothering me. I told her to stay away from Harper if she wanted us to have a happy relationship. Am I the a-hole to tell Olivia to not believe Harper's lies, or do you think Harper's story checks out and I'm just overreacting? I've never heard of anyone hitting on their friend's boyfriend to test the relationship, and seems like the most bullcrap excuse. Yeah, I don't think the story checks out either. And if that is a genuine strategy girls use, I would imagine that they probably tell each other about it first before they do it. Sounds like to me she just needed the night to come up with a good excuse and then messaged Olivia in the morning with her, alibi, I suppose. Let's go to the comments. I would be physically incapable of being with someone that naive, and I say that as someone who is himself at times naive. Here's the deal. Olivia will not drop Harper, no matter what. You will not be able to badmouth Harper ever without pissing off Olivia, and Olivia is going to believe Harper over you, which she's pretty much proven already. The number of red flags here is significant. Do not move this girl into your apartment. Whether it was a test or not, you should still not want to have anything to do with Harper. Tell your girlfriend that if she insists on staying friends with Harper, then you shouldn't live together, as you don't want Harper to ever invade your living space. Essentially, if she stays friends with her, your relationship can't progress, so it will likely be the end of it. Either Harper is lying and actually wanted to hook up with you and made up the lie to save face, or she's simply a toxic jerk, most likely the former. If Olivia doesn't cut Harper off, cut off the lot of them, but since she doesn't see this as a problem, I don't see how such a relationship can be sustainable. Not the a-hole. Okay, on to an update. Before I go to the update, let me address the issue that most of the comments were discussing. Yes, I am aware that there is a 7-year age gap between Olivia and me. It also does not help that I'm a 6'4" muscular dude and she is 5'3" petite runner. I've dated girls my age, some girls slightly older than me, and Olivia. I do not think maturity is a function of age, and I've dated girls my age who are way more childish than Olivia. Out of all my relationships, I've been the happiest in the last year with Olivia. She's not as academically gifted as I am, but she is ambitious and driven. She is a long-distance runner, runs 2 to 3 marathons per year, and is finishing her fitness training certifications. I'm proud of her and how she takes care of herself. The relationship just works for us. Now for the update. Harper told Olivia that she was just testing me, and Olivia initially agreed with her explanation. We discussed it and I told her my side of the story. I told her that Harper is bad news, but it's her choice if she wants to be friends with her. Olivia was more ticked at Harper that she did not tell her about the test beforehand, and had her doubts about Harper's story. I decided to drop the issue since I do not want Olivia to be broken off from her friends group because of me. Olivia just couldn't get over the incident and kept on asking me for more details every day. Finally, yesterday we had a long discussion about it. I told her that testing someone's boyfriend is a very insecure thing to do. Doing it without telling Olivia was horrible, as she did try to kiss me and physically seduce me into coming to our apartment. My point was, if my friend ever tried to kiss Olivia and asked her to cheat on me, I would immediately drop that friend, if not do something worse. She understood that but kept on repeating. What if Harper was just acting convincingly and did something stupid, but not evil? She told me that although Harper is very promiscuous, she would never try to steal someone's boyfriend. She also told me that Harper has a type of guy who she dates, and I'm not the type of guy she would date. I don't want to admit it, but that did hurt my ego. Olivia just kept on repeating that we would never really know what Harper was thinking that night. She may be trying to test me, but got drunk and went too far. I told Olivia that maybe she should test Harper and see what was really on her mind. Olivia was confused, but went with what I was saying. I told Olivia to message Harper that she was going to visit her parents' place over the weekend and ask her to meet for brunch on Sunday. Harper replied and said it sounded great, and they decided a place to meet. After an hour, Olivia and I messaged Harper from my Snapchat with just a blank image and said, "Thinking about you." We waited for 10 minutes, and Harper replied with 2 topless bathroom selfies. Olivia was beyond mad at this point, but I told her to wait and see what happens next. Harper then replied saying, "Hey, Olivia is gone for the weekend. Maybe I can show you this in person on Saturday." At this point, Olivia was just trying to keep it together. She snatched the phone from my hand, took a selfie of her face, and messaged it to Harper. Harper started blowing up Olivia's phone with missed calls and frantically messaging her. Her excuse was again, "I was right about your boyfriend. He is a cheat. I was testing him to see what was on his mind." Olivia did not reply to any of her messages, and it took a while to console her. I felt bad blowing up their friendship, but I knew what Harper was doing that night, and I felt she should not get away with it. Did I do something extremely mature for a 30-year-old guy? Yes. Did it feel good? Also yes. I feel any person hitting on their friend's partner deserves this treatment, irrespective of their age. I don't know if Olivia and Harper would patch up in the future, or how it will affect their friends group. I sometimes feel guilty for the fact that I went out for drinks with Harper and friends, and that led to this whole situation. Olivia does not deserve to have her best friend betray her trust in this way. So, in the spirit of this subreddit, am I the a-hole for testing my girlfriend's friend, who tried to test me? A comment in reply says, "Not the a-hole. At least Olivia knows the truth about her quote-unquote friend now. So, are you and Olivia going forward with her plans to move in with you? You mentioned that in your original post. And Opie replies, yes, that was never off the table for me. I know it's easy to judge Olivia based on one incident. We've been dating for almost a year, and I'm excited for her to move in. Okay, and that's the end of that one. Yeah, like that comment said, at least Olivia knows the truth now. It's better to get things like that out of the way earlier than it to become a problem later down the line. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Anyway, let's go to another story. Okay, well, on the True Off My Chest subreddit, this one was written by user Vast Fruit, and it's titled, I hurt the nicest person I've ever met. This is a throwaway as all people involved are avid Redditors. I need to tell someone what I did. I feel guilty every single day for what I said 4 months ago, and I do not know what to do in order to be able to move on and focus on my life. So I came here, hoping that I can find my peace after writing this for complete strangers. I, 30 male, have a friend since childhood, Clark, 26 male. Clark married July, 24 female, 2 years ago. This summer, Clark and July invited some of their friends, including me, to their new house in the mountains. There they have a pool, a jacuzzi, and a room for games in which there are even some arcade games. We spent 1 week there, and it was amazing. On the first day, I was talking to Clark, and I told him I wish I were confident enough to go swimming. I was obese for my entire life, but in the last year I managed to lose over 60 kilos. I went every day to the gym, and I kept a strict diet, and it was worth it. However, now I have a lot of loose skin all around my belly. I told all of this to Clark, and July overheard us. She was very nice and said that my loose skin is the result of a very impressive journey, so I should not feel ashamed of it. She encouraged me to go swimming if I wanted to, and assured me that nobody is perfect. She even joked that her stretch marks are more visible than my loose skin. The next day, in the morning, July was the only one at the pool. She has extremely light skin, and she only stays in the sun during early morning hours and late afternoon hours. I wanted to go swimming, but I was reluctant to do this while she was there. She was again very supportive, and even said that she can go back inside if I wanted to be alone. I appreciated this, but it did not seem fair, so I just sat on the edge of the pool and talked to her. It was the first time I've ever been alone with her, and I realized she must be one of the nicest people I know. During that week, every morning I woke up very early, hoping that July would not be at the pool so I can go swimming, but every morning she was there. At some point I just got rid of my t-shirt and started swimming in front of her. Her reaction was so nice. Not once she looked at my loose skin, and she talked to me like nothing happened. When she went back inside, she said in a very serious tone that I was right to be concerned and not want to be seen without my t-shirt. She said all the single girls would probably pass out if they saw me swimming. I laughed and thanked her for her support and kindness. During the last day, I was talking to July and I thanked her again. She said she felt concerned and anxious about her body for many years, but Clark helped her and now she feels more confident than ever. I looked at her and just saw all her flaws. She was overweight, pale like a vampire, and not a single feature was beautiful or even appealing. She looked so common, like a background character in a very underwhelming movie. In that moment, my big stupid mouth just said to her what my brain thought without any filter. Quote, I figured that if you were confident enough to wear a swimsuit, I should also feel confident. I mean, you don't even go to the gym and you're not on any diet, but you're having fun no matter what people think about you. I saw her smile fading away, and she suddenly looked sad. She said that I was right and walked away. Immediately, I felt so stupid for what I said. She was nice and kind, and in return I told her she should not be so confident in her body. She showed me a lot of support, and I hurt her. I apologized that day many times, but each time she just said that it was okay. She never told Clark anything, as he acted the same way towards me, which is even worse because it means she's even nicer than I thought. Since that day, I saw July only a few times, and each time I apologized. However, she's still cold with me, and doesn't speak with me at all if we're alone. Tomorrow, I'll meet her again for Christmas. I bought her a present, a book that she really wanted but could not find it anywhere. I just hope after I give her the present she'll forgive me, or at least she'll see how much I regret my words. Let's go to the comments. People really think deep insecurity and self-hatred live in a bubble of themselves and has no tangible effect on anyone around them. Leave her alone. I know you feel guilty, but you can't go back and undo it. You've made her uncomfortable and self-conscious, and your guilt isn't her responsibility to deal with. OP, the kindness that she shared towards you was the beauty that counts, and in that moment, the moment between making sure you felt accepted and seen for who you are, not the physical, but the spirit of the person you are, you decided to judge her solely on the physical. Conquer your beauty is only superficial, because you're not looking too hot here. What you said to her isn't even the worst thing here. It's what you thought about her. You are clearly a very unhappy person. Work on yourself so you don't inflict your self-hatred on others who don't deserve it. And leave her the F alone. I can guarantee she doesn't want to see you or hear from you. Okay, come here and sit down. It's time I tell you about that time someone hurt me like you did July. Long comment. When I was 15 and my brother was almost 11, I'd already started hating my own image very much. Like convinced I was too fat and awful to look at. It lasted 15 years. I would cry when seeing myself in the mirror. Anyway, we were at the beach with my brother, my sister, and my mother. I was in a swimsuit, but had my arms hiding my belly. My brother asked why. I told him I was feeling insecure about my body. I actually started to think it was ridiculous to think people looked at me and thought that about me. He answered, yes, I can see why. Honestly, seeing you in a swimsuit is repulsive. I tried to lighten the blow, saying, you say that because you're my brother. And he added, oh no, I'm just saying looking at your body is actually disgusting. But don't worry, I'm sure you can work it out with some sports or something. I fell silent. Sometime later, my mum pried what happened out of me and tried to make him apologize. He said, I can't pretend not to think it would be a lie. 4 to 5 years later, I lost something like 5 kilos. I'm over 175 centimeters, and my brother told me, now you look great, you see, trying to reverse the blow. I said thanks and nothing else. I went through therapy for a lot of things and finally learned to love myself. My weight didn't change, I just stopped seeing myself as some unworthy blob of flesh. Dumbest thing is, I was never even overweight really. After starting to love my body, I had a conversation with my brother. He asked why I used to see myself this way, and I told him when you feel this way, you only hear opinions that are validating your hatred. Anything else you discard. He was shocked anyone would validate my self-hatred, so I reminded him of what he did. He was shocked. It was embedded in his memory, but he hadn't thought of it. He apologized. The next year, he came to me out of the blue and told me how appalled he was at what he had said, that he'd given it much thought and he couldn't even understand how I could still be such a kind sister to him afterwards. We had a talk, and this is what I think went down for him. My father is an abusive piece of crap. Back then my brother was chubby, and my father would heavily bully him for it. Verbal abuse had become the norm for us, and hating on someone's body too, focusing on every flaw. My father took a lot of pleasure in making us hurt, and I think we learned that the way to lessen your own pain was to inflict onto others what was inflicted onto you. I actually recently saw pictures of that vacation. I was pretty thin. My brother was not. Insane how we can see ourselves. Anyway, I believe you acted the same way my brother acted. My brother hated his own image, so hearing insecurity in me, he hurt me to stop hurting. I don't mean to say you actively wanted to hurt her, but you looked at her and saw only her flaws. You saw her like you would if it was your own body, because she showed vulnerability. But I can bet my own gorgeous body that there are a lot of beautiful things about her that you just couldn't see. The thing is, OP, you have not overcome your body dysmorphia, not because you still have loose skin, but because there will always be a reason for you not to love your own image, because the issue is psychological. So her being in the same boat as you, she became a target of your self-hatred in some twisted, projecting way. You cannot fix things that easily. You have to work through therapy to get to a point where you don't hurt people because they show you love and support. As for now, I think the only thing to do is write her a letter, tell her that you realized that you hated yourself and the body dysmorphia was only a symptom of that, and having her show so much support and care triggered a response in you to hurt her, basically to say, well, what does she know? Of course she has to be supportive looking like that, but it's not because I actually look good. Tell her that you know what you said hurt her deeply, and that you can't even put into words how sorry you are, and that seeing that this is your reaction to one of the nicest people you've ever met being supportive of you, you've become aware that you need to help make sure that you get rid of that toxic way of dealing with people you love. Yeah, great comment there. Let's go to an update. I did not know how exactly to link my previous post, but I hurt a nice and kind woman, July, with a very rude and unnecessary comment about her appearance. I said sorry multiple times, and for Christmas I bought her a book that she really wanted, but could not find anywhere. This brings me to the events that took place at Christmas dinner. First, I want to say that I cannot cut contact with July as many suggested in my previous post, because her husband, Clark, is my childhood best friend. So we had our annual Christmas dinner. We were 16 friends and we gathered at one of our common friends' house. I said hi to July and Clark and we started talking. July was still cold, so I asked her if I can talk a bit to her. She was reluctant, but Clark, who doesn't know about what I said to July in the summer, excused himself and let us alone. I gave her the book and told her I regret what I said and I understand if she never wants to talk to me again, but I cannot cut contact with them as Clark is still my friend. I said that I was, and I still am, struggling with my own image and self-hatred, but I'm currently in contact with a therapist, and I'll start therapy sessions in January, in order not to hurt other people. I apologized again, and I said I never wanted to hurt her, as she is the nicest person I've ever met. She accepted my gift, but told me that my words not only hurt her deeply, but also made her struggle again with an eating disorder. When I said those things to her, she was actually having a good relation with food, and she was going to the gym. When I told her that she did not look like having a diet or doing sports, she relapsed and could not eat properly for a few weeks, losing a bit of weight. She told me she always thought highly of me because of all the things Clark had said to her. This is why my words affected her so much. She said she was happy to know that I will address my problems with a specialist, and insisted that our next discussion should be after at least 5 sessions. She ended by telling me that she wants our relationship to be as before, but I need help, and she needs time to figure out how not to be so mad at me. We did not talk much after this, but when I was leaving, she said goodbye, and even shook my hand. I think we're on the right path in maybe having her back as my friend. Okie dokie folks, and that's the end of that story. Yeah, I'm honestly not surprised she spiraled after that comment, given her reaction to it. Things like body dysmorphia, eating disorders and, mental health in general are a really big problem these days. And you really got to be careful what you say to people, even when you think you know them. Yeah, and Opie definitely screwed up here. Anyway, what do you guys think about this one? Let me know in the comments. Anyway, that's it from me today. Hope you guys enjoyed those stories. Thanks for making it to the end, and I'll see you all in the next video. Have a good day. Cheers.